He'll tell you all about that. So some of the brokers and trading platforms that HERU presently uses is Hugo's Way, Forex pairs, metals, cryptocurrency, and indices. Robinhood is used for some of the stock options, and you're free to use your own preferred broker and platform. So I want to welcome back my good brothers, Know the Ledger, Red Pill, and Brother Heru Afari Atta.
Greetings, Grand Rising.
And
Peace
Roger,
to
my
the
brother.
family.
Yeah, bless up. Good to see you all. Happy to be on this morning and to get into this whole wealth results conversation. So brother Red Pill, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. How are you feeling?
I'm on top of the world, man. I'm productive. And brother Anthony, how are you?
Oh man, I'm blacktastic, man. Hey, Redfield, take a minute to tell folks about what you're doing, man, with AI, if you don't mind, brother Heru.
Yeah,
Um,
please do.
yes. Just yesterday, Tuesday, we had an event in Atlanta called Techno Bowl.
Wow.
I have a podcast called Techno Tuesdays, and
Mm,
once a month we do a live filming with a live studio audience. So
okay.
yesterday was our Techno Bowl IRL, and we had a special guest. Her name is Dr. Vicky Hamilton, a sister, a Soro sister out of Atlanta. She's an elder. She's a retiree, and she came and she was just talking to senior citizens, elders, and also people that are just getting into the retirement phases, and just walking with them and showing them that they have a life after retirement with app building using lovable, what they call vibe coding. So now you could take an idea and you literally could create an app that you could put into the app store, monetize it, and rinse and repeat. You could do that as many times, and then you could also teach. She teaches corporate, she teaches leadership. She gets all type of invites to speak in front of large audiences about her expertise.
No, that's good stuff, man. Thank you very
Yeah,
much, my brother. Appreciate your cousin.
thank you.
Excellent. And also, since this is wealth results, we're talking about all different forms of accumulating wealth the right way. I know also, Brother Red Pill, you had a seminar about a week ago
Yes.
on AI, and I heard it was very successful, and you did it in North Carolina. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Oh yes, thank you so much. 2 weeks ago, I had a boot camp, a 72-hour boot camp. The approach that we are finding much success with when it comes to AI is over the shoulder teaching, being there hands on. 72-hour boot camp. This one specifically was on Open Claw, aka the Claw Bot, which is an autonomous AI operating system that you can customize for any business, any type of niche. It has thousands of use cases. It has a bunch of ways to monetize. It's a slight learning curve because you're getting into agentic AI, but by the time everybody left, they were thoroughly educated. We over delivered. Yes, we over delivered. The technology is robust in 2026. So we are going to dedicate, or what we call livicate, a lot of our days to get the message out on the road. And we want to touch grass. We want to go to specific states and activate that grid. Bring people who are doing things inside of each one of these states. Put them on stages and whatnot. Network. I call myself a lead magnet. I put myself in different places with different people so I could bring our people out, our networks out, have them meet one another, mingle, chop it up, and then do the work.
Mm, wow.
Absolutely, man. And what are some of the comments that you get in Red Pill from the people who attended the conference?
Oh man, the comments that I got in this one specifically was thank you, my brother. I have information that I can actually apply. Thank you, my brother. You've made, things have been cleared up for me. now I can see, right? I could see myself in this space doing things because you're actually showing us actual people who are doing things. We're seeing product in product. We're seeing the steps that we need to take an idea and bring it all the way to market. So it's a lot of that.
Yeah, this is very important, man. That's great work that you're doing. And not only that, I was contacted yesterday by some brothers in Atlanta who want to do an AI conference for the community. And I suggested that they reach out to you as well so that you can be part of that conference.
Oh man, thank you so much. That's what I'm talking about. That's camaraderie right there. When your name is mentioned in rooms that you're not even in, you feel me? And it's dealing with prosperity, wealth, and opportunity. Okay, that is true brotherhood in my eyes. So thank you so much for being a comrade and speaking my name when I'm not there in the most honorable way.
Yeah, man. No problem, man. It's my pleasure.
No doubt.
So let's do a little housekeeping. So we had our health show on Monday, and as we would predict, and we're working on mitigating this issue, but particularly YouTube. YouTube ended up taking down the broadcast that we did on Monday, and from a lot of comments that I got, and I'm sure that you all got from your side, it was considered to be a legendary stream that we did on Monday as we covered parasites and cancer.
That was a classic, man.
Yep.
Woo. 3 hours, 3 hours and 33 minutes.
Yeah. We covered some more too. We talked about Haiti. I don't know how we got into Haiti, but we had a very good conversation about Haiti and the history and all of that, man. But they took down, so brother Red Pill, being the rebel that he is, he's going to live stream it anyway, because sometimes we do get past the YouTube police and they leave it alone. Sometimes you don't know what their magic words set them off. I've done hundreds of streams on health. About 90% of them don't get flagged or taken down, and some of them do. But it turns out that on Know the Ledger, brother Red Pill's site, because he has two of them, Know the Ledge Media TV and then Know the Ledger 444 on YouTube, has been restricted because of that post. They've given him a strike warning. So I believe that he won't be able to live stream for about a week on that property. But, luckily he has a second streaming site on YouTube, which is Know the Ledger TV. But this also, we expected this. We're not upset. We know that they have to do what they have to do and that we have to do what we have to do. And so this is why we keep talking about, transitioning to our own sites. I know that we have Know the Ledge University, and we also have SANKOFA Revolutionary Radio, and then we have HERU Trades for the wealth part, and then we have herbalresults.net for the health part. And I've enabled so that we can do the live streaming on my personal websites, and we're going to also have Red Pill very soon having live streaming capabilities on his personal websites. For now, he's going to be putting a lot of these videos that we do, particularly the health videos. They don't come so much after you on the wealth videos, but they come after you on the health videos because of the pharmaceutical companies and their relationship with YouTube, stopping their money by talking about alternative solutions that actually work better than their solution. So what happens is that they will try to take you down or restrict your site. So that's happened to Know the Ledger. But what we're going to do is that Red Pill from now on, the shows that he's doing on Health with me and Brother Anthony will still do the live stream, but they will no longer be stored on YouTube. What's going to happen, I believe Brother Red Pill can, you can tell the audience for yourself, but I believe you're going to make it available on Patreon for your listeners.
Yes, indeed. We will begin to stream, and we will make everything available via the Patreon. And then that will shift over to KTL Plus, which is our CC, our over the top channel, and we will also be streaming it through KTLUniversity.com and whatnot. But right now, it will live very safely on Patreon. And shout out to all of my Patreons. They're very familiar with the fact that we do a lot of um, too hot for YouTube presentations over there. We've been doing that since 2017. So it's all good. You know what I mean? It's definitely all good. We have prepared ourselves, fortified ourselves to have conversations that are, like you said, going against the propaganda.
Right. So what we want to do now is I just want to do roll call for Brother Anthony and Brother Red Pill, because people are asking like where, for some reason, if ever, they can't find you all on YouTube or what have you because of YouTube's restrictions. I think it'd be good to give a list of all the different places where we can be found, right? So why don't we start with Brother Anthony and go to Red Pill, then I'll list my places as well. So Brother Anthony, where are the places that people can find Sankofa Revolutionary Radio?
Well, this is a very important conversation. I think back in the 80s, I think it was 6 corporations that owned 90% of the media. Haven't much changed with social media because some of the so-called elite and billionaires have began to buy out or buy most of the platforms. So, the spaces we're at is a Bibi Tume with Dr. Obadale Kamban. And I think me and you, Brother Heru, talked to Michael Thompson, and he's got his own platform. But like Brother Heru said, we saw this coming, and we established Sankofa Revolutionary Radio, where you can find us at WSYP 95.1. And we're there. And also got Sankofa Bookstore there, where you can purchase your books and all the products and merchandise of Sankofa Radio. So we, as a matter of fact, Red Pill and Brother Heru, I put the station on YouTube about a couple of weeks ago, and I've been censored already, and I've been prevented from streaming right now. I can't get on. So they have began to censor me, but don't worry, we're at WSYP95.1.com.
Okay, let's be clear on that. That is WSYP 95.1.com, that you can just tune in and hear the live broadcast that we're doing. I believe you also play the reruns of the shows that we do, Brother Anthony, right? Can you give people a schedule of that?
It's a good question. Good point. Yeah, we rebroadcast. As a matter of fact, we have a unique style and radio station here, 24-hour cycle of community. So from that African Center perspective and worldview, and this program where we re-air most of them, the repetition is good. So we re-air this program from 12 Central and 6 p.m. Central right here on WSYPLP 95.1. So we give it to you, and we give it to you often.
Great. And what I'm going to do, just for you all to get familiar, I'm going to share the website so you all can see it, so you all know for future reference, so that people, if you don't find us on YouTube or Facebook, whatever, we're broadcasting every Monday and Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mondays is health, Wednesdays is wealth. So this is what the website looks like, y'all. WSYP951.com. So 951.com, which stands for 95.1, which is also an FM station in Alabama. So this isn't just an AM station, it's actually an FM station broadcast live in Alabama, which is streamed live on the internet, where people can tune in on this page anywhere in the world. And I know where we got listeners at on Sankofa Revolutionary Radio, Brother Anthony.
Our listeners right now are tuning in on the continent, UK, London, and the islands, and all over the West. So we're on damn near every continent, my brother, as well as you and my brother Red Pill, Know the Ledger. So we all everywhere.
Right. So, we get listeners from all over the world on Sankofa Revolutionary Radio, and this has been in place for over a decade. So for those who don't know, this is a place where you can go to get uncensored information. particularly if you're interested in our Monday health show. You can always tune in here. So if wherever streaming on YouTube and it gets taken down, you can actually go on Sankofa Revolutionary Radio and access the show. I know you also stream on your Facebook as well, Brother Anthony.
Yep, same place. Facebook, WSYP 95.1, and Abibi Toomey, as stated, WSYP 95.1. You can find us at those spaces and places. So look, and this is a very important conversation, man. It's illusion of choice. We're gonna make it not an illusion anymore, where you can get us and not be censored.
Absolutely. So that's where you all can go if you want to tune into this content. Brother Red Pill, could you state the places where people can find you, just in case YouTube decides to block you in the future? Just so people know automatically, basically an SOP, standard operating procedure. If you can't find us on YouTube, where can we find Red Pill's programs and live broadcasts?
Thank you. One of the first places that I could be found is on our personal website, ktluuniversity.com. I'll drop the link in the chat. And then another place where we can be found is on Patreon. Okay. Patreon.com/redpillar, REDPILLAR. And then we could be found on connecttoyourcity.com. Connect to Your City, you can find us on Roku, Apple TV, anywhere on your smart TV. You put KTL Plus, and then our channel will pop up. That's on Connect to Your City, and that's 24-hour programming. We're playing every, 24 hours, different shows, going all the way back to our days with Sinetta TV in Harlem and whatnot. Yes, so this is KTL University. This is our cyber library. This is where we have multiple lectures that span all the way back into 2018.
Yep.
So
and
we
so
have workshops.
This is very important.
Yes. This is like the Alexandria, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we have Red Pillar, Blue Pillar with the Law 44, but we also have special guests that we brought on, brothers Al-Kibalan 444, Bidel 1014, A.A. Rashid, Sharif Anail Bey, and many more people that we've collaborated with over the years doing these workshops, doing these lectures, and doing these seminars.
Excellent. So this is for people to know. If you want to get Red Pill information at any moment, anything that we say can get us taken off of YouTube or Facebook. So those of you tune into us on YouTube and Facebook, we're giving you standard operating procedure where you can go to access what we're doing, because we will not stop doing what we're doing, irrespective of whether we're on YouTube or Facebook. What we're doing is way too important to be limited to someone's else's platform. So we want to make sure that you all know very well that 9 a.m. we're going to be doing what we're doing, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or not. We are not dependent on any of those sites. We have our own sites, and we know that a lot of our people congregate on these social media channels, but please understand that we have our own properties. And for me, so you all see KTL University, I want you all to become very familiar with that, okay? Because we're going to start posting the links to the old shows that we do that cover different topics that a lot of people are looking to catch up on, because every week we're building on what we did last week, right? Whether it's health or wealth. And so people need to know, nobody should know Red Pill's YouTube channel more than they know Red Pill's website, right? His website is his website where he controls 100%. If you're into Red Pill's programming, you got to know that ktluuniversity.com exists, right? Because we're not here to build up YouTube. We're not here to build up Facebook. We're here to build up ourselves. And we're just using this tactic of going to where the people are, and we're looking to take you off the YouTube block and come to our block, right? So what we really are going to be doing is a form of what you call poaching. We're going to poach the audience from Facebook and YouTube and bring that audience to our properties. And that's the only way that it can be. We're not going to talk wealth if we're not talking ownership. And so that's what it is. And I'm going to keep saying this until people get familiar when we start making our transitions mid-show. We're giving people enough time to get comfortable with it, because a lot of people are very comfortable tuning into YouTube and Facebook, but we want to get you comfortable tuning into the websites that we actually control, so we can make sure that there will be no interruption in broadcasting or interruption in terms of censorship. This is very important. As far as I'm concerned, I'll show you all my websites that you can go to. For the health part, it will be herbalresults.net. Okay, and so this is what the website looks like. So that means anytime we're broadcasting on Monday and we start getting deep into real solutions and healing people and giving you the evidence that they don't want you to hear, you're going to go to herbalresults.net for my audience. Okay, we're going to transition from Facebook in the middle of the show to herbalresults.net when we start getting into the real nitty gritty of how you can heal yourself for cents on the dollar, right? Because we're showing you how to save money and saving you from side effects of the pharmaceutical drugs. And so it's very important that people know where we'll be broadcast. So it'll be on herbalresults.net. Now, in terms of health, that's where we're going to be. In terms of wealth, we have HERU Trades for my listeners. And this is what the website looks like, right? And when we start getting into it, especially when I start sharing like the money part in terms of my trades, sometimes, because I like to be transparent, like, okay, this is a trade I made, this is how much it was made. We're going to go to HERU Trades, and then you're going to click live broadcast, right? When you go live broadcast, that's where you're going to see this live broadcast. So even today, if we start getting to the nitty gritty and I start showing you some of my trades and, the actual money that was made, it would be on HERU Trades. It would not be on Facebook, and it would not be on YouTube, because Facebook and YouTube don't deserve this information. However, you, the listener, you definitely deserve the information, but you're going to have to come to our properties to see that. So I think that that's a fair exchange for information, but at the same time, making sure that we're in complete control of everything that's being done. Okay, so this is very important for us to talk about. So I don't know if the brothers want to chime in on that, or we can just move to the next topic.
Yeah, I think you made it. I think we all made it real clear, very clear. So I'm good with moving to the next topic, Brother Redfield.
I agree that this is one of the most important conversations when speaking on wealth. It is the platforms in which we create our wealth. Our IP is the conversations that we're having right now. These conversations will outlive us. These conversations, each one of them are, I know that everybody here understands the power of publishing, and the minute you put your voice on a broadcast, that you are now, a published artist. So this is our propriety. This is our IP. These conversations are a part of our quote unquote digital portfolio. So yeah, we want to protect it. We want it to be on our servers and whatnot. And the idea is to utilize YouTube as a lead magnet. So please make yourself very familiar with KTL University. Make yourself very familiar with Connect to Your City. Okay. And yeah, let's just keep building, because we're going to build more digital properties, more digital real estate. But this is, this is our foundation right now.
Absolutely, man. So, that's the housekeeping that we're doing for y'all. Let's get into the money. Let's get into this. So, we've given you concepts, the listeners, concepts of at least my approach to money, my approach to wealth. We talked about the interaction and the hierarchy between money and time. If you didn't catch those conversations, go to our previous episodes that you could find on my Facebook page, HERU, OFORI, ATTA, where we have some of the older shows. We're going to be transitioning that to probably I'm going to have a page on abibitumi.com that's going to have some of the older shows. We may put it behind like maybe a paywall for $5, $10 or something for the older shows, for those people who find it to be valuable in terms of reciprocity. Because what I'm doing is I'm showing you how to make money, not just from mindset, but from the actual things that I'm doing. And there's value with that. And I'm very transparent as to the trades that I'm doing. And we go over those trades and to get an update. Now, we talked about this concept of different levels of knowledge, as you all might remember. The first level is ignorance, right? So ignorance is not, I'm not using ignorance as a pejorative. I'm using ignorance as you just don't know, right? Just like someone who doesn't know how to speak Chinese. So they're ignorant of the Chinese language in terms of how it operates and what have you. So that's ignorance, where you have no knowledge of something. And then the other level of knowledge is you're wrong, right? So, you may do math and you think that 1 + 1 = 3, right? Or you believe that, Egypt is not in the continent of Africa. That's just wrong, right? So there are a lot of people who are just wrong about the things that they think that they know, right? And then, so you have ignorance, you have error, and then you have what I call static knowledge. So static knowledge is you do know information, but that information is non-actionable, right? So like you watch Trump every day and you talk about how bad Trump is as a person, and you follow everything that Trump does, and you can quote his speeches and you can see the bad things he's done and talk about the bad things that he's done. However, your knowledge of Trump being a bad guy does not affect your life in any positive way in terms of you being able to capitalize off it or putting your family in a better position. All it is that you're just gathering information, and you may be correct about the information, but it is what I call static knowledge, right? And we see this type of knowledge profile in many of our communities where we've got a lot of smart people who can quote this or can quote that. However, their lives do not reflect the level of intelligence and the level of information that they have. In other words, they're struggling economically. They weren't able to capitalize off of any of the information that they actually have, even though that information is correct. We find many of our people in that situation, right? Or you may have someone who has knowledge of celebrities, right? Which most of our people, like right now, the debate about, a basketball player and a rap artist who are dating each other. And now that's become, the conversation that people are having. But when you start taking a stock, how has taking a position or learning about the lives of these celebrities impacted your life in any way positive financially? Unless you have a gossip website where you're monetizing that information, it's just a waste of time, right? And many people in your pursuit for celebrity information and celebrity gossip, you've not only wasted your time, but you failed to capitalize on even this information that you have. Because if you're into following celebrities, you should at least have some website or some social media that helps you monetize that knowledge that you have of the celebrities, cheating scandals or whatever. There are people who've monetized that, there's a Tasha K, there's whatever. She's at least monetizing gossip. DJ Academics or DJ Vlad, they monetize celebrity gossip. And so I can understand why they do it. But the question is, why are you doing it, the listener, if you can't capitalize on that information in one way or another? And what happens is that many people end up being the PR, the unpaid public relations arms for celebrities. You're making posts about celebrities all day. You're helping them sell albums. You're helping them sell views. You're helping them increase their economic standing, and you're getting nothing in return, right? So I just want people to think about the knowledge that they have, and if it is actually static knowledge or the highest level of knowledge, which is what I call kinetic knowledge. Kinetic knowledge is knowledge that you know, knowledge that you have that increases your position and your standing and your freedom and your economic wherewithal on this planet. That's what you call kinetic knowledge, right? And with the kinetic knowledge of what we know around what's happening geopolitically, we know that the United States is in a war with Iran, which is led by Israel. And we know about the Straits of Hormuz, where about 30% of the world's refined oil goes through. It has a lot of consequences besides just learning and reading political gossip, right? And 99% of people are tuned in to the news and learning about, what happened today in terms of Iran and what have you. But that information is what you call the third level of knowledge, static knowledge. Those of us who are involved in kinetic knowledge are taking what's happening in geopolitics and we are actually making money off of it. So when we hear that gas prices are going up, we capitalize off it because we're not just consumers. We're actually people who say, oh, if gas prices are going up and the price of oil is going up, I can actually buy options, oil options, or I can trade oil on Forex and actually make money. This is what, the quintessential example of that is a guy I told you all about called Eduardo Severin. Some of you have tuned in and heard about this story, and some of you are tuned in right now and have not heard about the story, but I'll just cover it real quick. Eduardo Severin was a young man whose family is from Brazil, and they immigrated to the United States and lived in Miami. Eduardo Severin, as a young boy, experienced a Category 5 hurricane called Hurricane Andrew in Miami. Those people from Florida, old school people, know about Hurricane Andrew. It was probably the most destructive hurricane that hit Florida. It was a Category 5. And I think it happened when he was around 10 years old. And so he got a fascination in getting information around hurricanes. So at that point, he's learning about hurricanes. What level of knowledge would that be? That would be level 3 knowledge. That would be static knowledge. It was just something that he took an interest in. However, through time, he became an expert on hurricanes and hurricane paths, like, learning how they're going to hit and what damage they're going to do. And he also took an interest in investing. So by the time he was 18 years old, he went to Harvard University and was part of the Harvard Investment Club as a freshman. His freshman year, there was a storm that was coming that was looking like it was going to hit the Gulf region, and it was called Tropical Storm Katrina. And he saw that Tropical Storm Katrina would most likely form into a large hurricane, which would get renamed Hurricane Katrina, that was going through the Gulf region of the United States. And he knew that the waters are very hot at that time of the year of August and September in that part of the water, right? And the heat is what increases the intensity of a hurricane. And so by knowing the temperature of the water and knowing the path of the hurricane, he knew that it was going to accelerate from a tropical storm to a very serious hurricane. It ended up being a Category 5 hurricane that not only took out New Orleans, but it also affected different parts of Texas, Port Arthur, Texas, all those types of places. So what happened was he also knew the properties that are there, that a lot of oil rigs are there. There's oil excavation, oil refinery happening around the Gulf. And he knew that if a Category 5 hurricane hits, you're going to have a shortage of oil in the United States in terms of U.S. reserves, which is going to shoot the price of oil up domestically. So what he did is that he took a bet on it. And I think within 24 to 48 hours of Hurricane Katrina hitting, the price of oil went up and he bagged $300,000 from that bet. Okay. So he became legendary in the Harvard investment circles as a freshman for that bet of the price of oil going up. With that $300,000, you know what he did with it? he knew a guy down the hall from him called Mark Zuckerberg that started a thing called Facebook. And Eduardo Severin became the initial investor in Facebook.
Wow.
And he invested that money that he made from his Hurricane Katrina bet.
Mm.
And that $300,000 that he invested in Facebook, he ends up having to sue Mark Zuckerberg because, of course, Mark Zuckerberg tried to deny Eduardo Severin's ownership level, and he ends up going to court. Eduardo Severin knows that he's going to win because he kept all the paperwork and the stock purchasing and all of that. And he ends up going to court. He wins. He wins the judgment. And before he wins the judgment, guess what Eduardo Severin does? He renounces his American citizenship because he realized that if he comes out on this judgment and he wins and he gets a windfall of a few $1 billion, he's going to be taxed around 50%.
Right.
Because he didn't want to give his money to the United States government, he renounced his American citizenship and moved to Singapore, which he lives right now.
Mm.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. Would you all like to know what his net worth is today?
What's that difference?
Remember, he started with $300,000 bet off of Hurricane Katrina and the price of oil going up. He invests into Facebook. He leaves America, and his net worth today, as you all can see, I just put it in a search, is $39.2 billion. Read it and weep.
Mm.
Okay? So this is what you call kinetic knowledge. $39 billion is what he has now. And it started with him being able to use kinetic knowledge to understand what was going to happen geopolitically when a Category 5 hurricane hits a place where there is major oil refinery happening. Okay? 39.2, 2025 estimated to be 39.2 billion. He is recognized as the richest person in Singapore. That's where he lives now. He left the United States, as I told you, renounced his American citizenship so he wouldn't have to pay 50% in taxes, and went about his life and now lives in beautiful Singapore and is making use of kinetic knowledge. And now he has $39.2 billion in net worth. And this is him right there. That's his face. You all can see him. See, I'm not making any of this up. Okay? It's very important for people to understand how kinetic knowledge works and how some people don't just sit on information or just, get information to try to prove how smart they are to you. They actually get the information and leverage it and create empires and generational wealth for their families. Okay? Now, here's the thing. What I'm going to do now is to show you kinetic knowledge and me knowing what's happening with the world. So all of us knew. There's nobody who's listening to this show right now who does not or did not know or have some type of sense that the price of oil would be going up. Everyone knows that, right? Everyone who's been paying attention to the news knows that they've been saying that the price of oil is going to go up, the Straits of Hormuz is closed, so forth and so on. But how many people have taken advantage of that information? This is what you call the difference between static knowledge and kinetic knowledge. So what I'm going to do right now is to show you all my position in oil. Now, Brother Red Pill, do you remember we did a show about 2-3 weeks ago, and I showed you my chart in my oil trade?
Yes, sir. I remember that.
You remember that we started out with 700 pips?
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the show, it was around 2,000 pips?
Yep. It jumped right up.
Yeah, during the show, right?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share with you all what my pippage looks like right now. Okay? So those of you all who paid attention, You saw that I was at 700 pips because I try to be as transparent as possible. So 700 pips with my oil trade. And I'm going to show you where I'm at right now with my oil trade. So give me 1 second to bring this up so you'll be able to see. So I trade Forex. And I use Hugo's Way as my broker. You can use whatever broker you like, but that's what I use. And so I want to just show you all what this looks like in real time, what kinetic knowledge looks like. So we can go entire screen, and let's do that entire screen, share. Because for some reason I'm not able to share. Okay.
Got it.
All right. Are you able to see it now?
Yep. We got it.
You able to see the chart?
Yes.
Okay. Brother Red Pill, could you read how many pips I'm in right now?
13, 820, 830.
Yes. So it's 13,800.
Yes.
So last time we spoke, I was at 2,000 pips. Now I'm at close to 7 times that profit. Because, and Brother Anthony, I think you saw this too, because I understand what's happening in the world, and I'm using what you call kinetic knowledge.
Right.
See, all of this movement right here is the price of oil. And let me just show you all. This is when I'm on the daily chart. This is when Netanyahu visited Trump.
Right.
Right here. This is one of his visits was in January, I believe. And then he had a March visit or a November visit around here. The price starts going up. And then the hostilities start and the price just shoots up. And you just waited, and we waited for a dip here. The dip confirms a bounce off point because it gets oversold, and I enter. You see me enter here.
Right.
So the price just keeps on going up, and this is actually very predictable based on the technical analysis that I do. But along with the news, what you call fundamental analysis, we know that the United States, in its 250-year history, has been in war for about 240 of those years. Then the United States has had only 10 to 13 years where it has not been in some type of war. So that lets me know that based on the credit history of the United States, this war is going to continue. And based on the history of Donald Trump, where he is very skilled at bankrupting his own businesses, that he will bankrupt America with this endeavor that he's doing with Iran, which is going to take the prices of everything up, starting with the price of energy and the price of oil. So because of that, I'm able to capitalize off that. And all of this money that I'm making from here will be used for any endeavors that I want around investing in manufacturing or what have you, just knowing that these people are going to take the price of oil up. And Iran has said, expect to have a $200 oil. Right now, we're at $107 per barrel, which means that if we get a $200 oil, and I came in at 92. Yeah, I came in at $91 per barrel, and we're at 107. So that's around, I'd say it's gone up 15 points. But if it goes up, if it's at 15 points and I'm at 13,000 pips or close to 15,000 pips, if it goes to another, let's just say $100, which they're saying $200, then, you know, for every, looks like every, let's just call it 10,000, every 10,000 pips, it tends to go up about $10. So if it goes up $100, that's another. So then you just do the math. So we're looking at 10,000 pips per $10. And so we're talking really about 10,000 pips for $10, 100. So 100,000 pips for $100. So that means that you could one of these days see me at 120,000 pips. Okay, and what is the importance of this? When people trade Forex, people like to brag about having 20 pips, 30 pips, 50 pips, and they'll take profit there. So you rarely going to see this level of pippage, but the way I trade, I go hard. So you're not going to see me with 20 pips and happy about it. I start getting to the thousands of pips, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pips because of the way that I trade. I don't trade the small time frames. I trade the big time frames. And so you're able to see this type of pippage. But this is just based on what you would refer to as kinetic knowledge, which everyone could have done. Everyone could have gotten into this as I've instructed, that you can literally get into the markets and use kinetic knowledge. If you know that the price of oil is going up, why don't you have a position on oil? Is because the educational system has not trained you how to do that. And this is what I'm very interested in training people to do. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to show you all some options. So this is Forex trades for oil. And again, those people who like to follow what I'm doing, you can go to HERUtrades.com and you can follow my trades. Okay. But Brother Anthony, you will know that during the show, I've also given my calls as to what I'm doing in terms of stock options, correct?
Oh, yes. You got to pay close attention, man. You can make some money here.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Go ahead.
So let's look at some of the stock options that I called out weeks ago. Brother Red Pill will be familiar with the stock options I called out, and they were oil stock options.
Right.
So you have the United States Oil Fund. Okay. So I'm going to share this screen with you all. I'm going to show you all what's been happening when you use kinetic knowledge. And I know, Brother Anthony, you got a position on some of these oil stocks as well, right?
That's right.
So let's look at how they're doing. Again, this is all real time. None of this is like theoretical. This is what we're doing to capitalize off of what's happening in the world right now. We're not going to be victims and consumers to say, oh, we're going to pay more at the pump and we're going to lose money because we're spending so much money to fill up our gas tanks. No, we're going to say we're going to put our money into kinetic knowledge and we're going to make money off of the price of oil going up. And until you can understand this, you will always be a victim of the news and the decisions of politicians. Okay? You have to know that whatever's happening in the world, there's a way that you can capitalize off it. As a matter of fact, there's a stock tracer called the Nancy Pelosi stock trader, because what she does is that her husband knows everything that's happening. From her being the Speaker of the House for so many years, she's been doing some type of trading that would be considered insider trading. So people have created programs and software around following her trades and people making money off of her trades, because she's making money trading, knowing what's about to happen in terms of legislation and what have you, right? So she's using kinetic knowledge to better the position of her family, right? And anyone can look into a Nancy Pelosi stock trades, right? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share you all some of these options. So I explained what stock options are a couple of shows ago. I don't want to like start from scratch, but you all can literally, look this up yourselves. It's like, what are stock options? But basically, stock options are an accelerated way to make money off of stocks. So if your stock went up like, 5% in a day, your option might have gone up 50% in a day, or even more than that. It's just an accelerated way to make money off of stocks if you know what you're doing. And so I know that the price of oil is going to be going up because I expect the United States to be warmongering, and I expect that this is going to be a long, protracted war, as we saw in Afghanistan, which is the neighbor of Iran to the east, to the direct east, and the neighbor of Iran to the direct west is Iraq. The United States have been in both of those countries engaged in warfare for over 20 years. So I don't expect Iran to be anything less in terms of the time output or the wastage of money or the economic implications. And so I put my money where history is, and let's look to see how we're doing. So I'm going to share right now. I think you all should be able to see. Okay, can you see United States Oil Fund?
Yes, yes, we see that.
Okay, so let's just look at if you just bought stock. We're not even getting to the options yet. But if you bought stock in United States Oil Fund a week ago, you'd have made 17% on your money. And I know, Brother Anthony, I think you got some stock in this.
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad you mentioned it. When you talked about it a few weeks ago, I got in at exactly 108.88.
Okay, so you've made considerable amount from 108 to 146. In 1 week, it's gone 17%. I know that I did the show with Red Pill over a month ago. So let's look to see. A month would be about 15%. 3 months, look at the rise in profit, 83%. Can everyone see that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if you got in on January when, you know, Netanyahu and these people were talking about attacking Iran, and you use that as a signal that you know that these people are going to cause the price of oil to go up, you'd have made 83% on your money, almost double your money in 3 months. This is real, y'all. This is just real.
Right.
Okay. And so I went ahead and got some options, and I'm going to show y'all some real numbers on some of these options. So we can go to this option here that I got that expires in January, and let's just see how that's doing. So just today on this option, I made 22%. Do you see that?
Yep.
22% just today.
Wow.
Just in 1 day, I made 22%. Okay. I'm not going to go over the numbers in terms of the cash that I have. I'm just going to let you all see the percentages I made just in 1 day. Okay, because we're on Facebook, YouTube. I don't want to share this with them. But just to let you know, this is doing very well. Okay. We've got 22% just for today. On my every dollar that I invested, I've made 22% just today. Let's look at another option. Let's go to this one, the one that expires next year in March. I made 18% today. Okay, on that one. And it says right here, it says 18%. Okay. And then let's go to the other one. And the day is not over. So as we're talking, I'll be making more money in the middle of this show.
Right.
Okay. And then let's go to the one in June. It's 24% today on my money. It's in the green, y'all. And let's just go back to that first one to make sure. So I got 3 options calls, and that's 22%. So you got 22, 18, 25% just today.
Wow.
Okay. Let's go into another oil.
And while you get into that, brother, give me an opportunity to do the station identification at the top of the hour. You're listening to WSYPLP 95.1, SANKOFA, Revolutionary Radio. Go ahead.
Excellent. So there's another oil stock that I'm in, and it's called Brent Crude Oil, and its letters are BNO. Okay, this is Brent Crude Oil, United States Brent Oil Fund. Okay, if we look at it, in the last week, the Brent Oil Fund has increased by 12% in just 1 week. So if you just bought stock in it, you'd have made 12% of your money from last Wednesday. Okay? Compare that to 0.01% that you make for the whole year, putting your money in the Bank of America savings account.
Yeah, I bought that one as well, my brother, right at 47. Go ahead.
Yep. You bought BNO, right? Because I called it out like
Absolutely.
over a month ago, right?
Right. Yeah, along with EcoVice. Well, go ahead.
Yep. So a month brings you at 7%. 3 months brings you at 74%, y'all. This is why people are making money quietly and you don't know about it, but they're laughing all the way to the bank because they know how to use the markets to literally print money. So all I'm doing is literally printing money by understanding how the markets work, right? But let's go into the options, which is going to give me even greater money than buying the underlying stock. So you see that today, the stock of United States Brent Oil Fund went up 5%. That means if you just bought the stock yesterday, you'd have made 5% on your money within 24 hours.
Wow.
Compared to 0.01% for the year if you kept your money in a Bank of America savings account. Okay? Now, let's look at some of these options. Remember, in a day, you'd have made 5% just on the underlying stock. Let's see how much I've made on the option in a day. 21%. You see that?
Yes,
Today. 21.5%
Wow.
I've made on this option just today. Okay? Now, let's go to the other options. And you're going to see similar numbers. So basically, I'm making 4 to 5 times as much money doing options than I am if I just did the underlying stock. Okay? So I have 2 options on BNO. I just showed you the first one. Let me show you the second one. And so the second one is 18% today. So you see that I'm making 4 times what the average person who just holds the stock makes. This is why I do options, y'all.
Right.
Okay? So even if you just got the stock, you're doing good. All right? And this is Robinhood. Anyone can just sign up for Robinhood. You put your money in just like you do with Cash App, but instead of spending your money on something, you can actually invest. And this is how I invest, y'all. And I'm just showing y'all what these numbers look like. The next thing that I told you all about, let me stop sharing, is I told you all about sulfuric acid and sulfur. Listen carefully to what I told you all. I know that the Straits of Hormuz, what you all don't understand is that the Straits of Hormuz is more than just about oil. One of the byproducts of refining oil is sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is actually very necessary because sulfuric acid is literally what is used to process metals, such as what you would call like, industrial metals. So if you're talking about like copper, iron, all of those types of things, you need sulfuric acid basically to wash out the impurities to be able to refine these metals to use in industrial capacity. So sulfuric acid is actually very important. The problem is that a great percentage of the world's sulfuric acid comes from the Straits of Hormuz because of the refining of so much oil, because that is a waste product that's actually useful when refining oil. If I know that the Straits of Hormuz is about to be closed, I know that there's going to be a shortage in sulfuric acid, which means that the price of sulfuric acid is going to go up. So all I did was I went on to Robinhood and I put in sulfuric acid. I'll show you all what I did. I mean, it's very simple what I did, but I'll show you all what these numbers look like. So all I did literally, y'all, was, and I did this last time as well. So I put in sulfur, and then I went through, you see where I put in sulfur? Can you all see this?
Yes. Yeah.
So I went through all the companies that deal with sulfur.
Okay.
And I found Ecovist.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. And when I put in Ecovist, I read about Ecovist. And what did they say? They told me that Ecovist engages in providing virgin and regenerated sulfuric acid products and services. They offer regenerated sulfuric acid, hazardous waste treatment services, virgin sulfuric acid for mining, Very important, virgin sulfuric acid derivatives for industrial production. This is exactly what I'm interested in. They also do not source their sulfuric acid from the Straits of Hormuz, which means that this company's sulfuric acid is going to now be in higher demand, which means that their stock price will go up. Okay, so just from knowing that, what did I do? I took a position in Ecovist over a month ago. I told everyone about this. And let's look at it. 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 30%. Okay? If you'd have gotten in when I told you all about it, which was over a month ago, you'd have made probably close to 20% on your money. But then I went ahead and got options as well. So when we look at the options, let's look at the options. Where are we at with the options? So today it's down 7%, but let's look at the month that I'm in. Remember, I've been in for over a month. And so I'm up 30% in my past month on this option. Okay, so I've made 30% on my money. In the last week, it went down 1.9%. But in the last month, and I got in over a month ago, I'm up 30%. This is much better. And then in the past 3 months, what does it say right here? Can someone read how much I'm up in the last 3 months?
But you're right at 25.4%.
No. 25,400%. Do you see that?
Wow.
You see this red pill?
Yes, sir. Crazy.
I'm up 25,400% in the past 3 months.
Wow.
Does everyone see that? Okay, like I'm not making any of this up. I'm just sharing with you all what goes on. Okay, and I can just do this over and over and show you all. And so this is what's going on with the markets that they're not telling you about, that people don't share this information, but I'm sharing it with you all because I've been doing this for some time and I understand what's going on. For instance, I just cashed out of my position in Intel. Intel, they make computer chips. Intel had a very big day on Monday. If you want to see the percentage, Intel went up 30% in 1 week, y'all. Okay? In 1 month, if you invested in Intel a month ago, and I called out Intel, for those people who follow me on HERU Trades, I called out Intel. I've been sitting in Intel for months, and look at the stock price in 1 month. It's gone up 100%. You'd have made double your money if you just put your money into Intel on March 29th. It's now April 29th, but on March 29th, you'd have doubled your money. If you just had your money in from March 29th to April 29th, you'd have doubled your money. So if you had $1,000 in here, you'd have $2,000 right now. If you had $10,000 in Intel, you'd have $20,000 right now. Does everyone see how this is going?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did options on this, and I walked out with 6 times my money. Okay, I had 2 options trades, and I may be able to show you all. I don't know. Let me see if I blacked out the money because I don't want. I'll show you the actual option. Let me see. Intel. I'll show you all the actual option. I don't want to show you all the exact cash, but I'll show you all. Okay. So I sold the option, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you all the exact option that I'm talking about, but I will be I've whited out the numbers. So just for you all to understand that this is all very real. This is literally an option that I ended up cashing out on Friday. When it went up like 20% in one day. I went ahead and took my money, and I'm going to show you all what that one looks like. So, all right, Intel blocked, and I'm sending that to myself. All right. All right, so I'm going to share this with you all. I've whited out the exact money, but you can see the percentage. Just so I'm confirming to you all exactly what I'm saying. I'm just being transparent. So Intel blocked. And I'm giving you all different ways that you could look at making money. Remember, we talked about business development. We had the sister Nicola Asante last week. For those of you all who might have missed it, you can tune in, go to my Facebook page and see if you can find that from last week. And she talked about how she's making money living abroad. She was born in the Houston area. She lived in Belize. She now lives in East Africa, and she's doing very well. She lives in a 7-bedroom mansion. She pays like $300 a month rent. And she now controls a farm, and she has a business office where they're doing artificial intelligence and technology. And the sister's doing very well. So I shared her story last week with you all, in which she also gave a testimonial about her mother, who had stage 4 cancer and took the Herbal Results products. And now the cancer has completely gone from her bones where it had spread. And so, you all should tune in to that, because every week we're covering trading, investing, business development, technology, and even real estate, how you all can get in on the game. Because also Sister Nicola sells land. She owns a lot of land in the United States, and she sells it to people who are interested. And so I would say, check out that interview. So that was the interview we did last Wednesday. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share with you all my Intel trade that I did, where I cashed out at 6 times my investment. So here we go. Let's do this. Okay, here it is right here. So, all right. You all can see this, Brother Red Pill, Anthony, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. So I want y'all to just look at the time frame. I bought this Intel option on February 24th. Can you all see the date bought? Let me make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's good.
You all can see it?
We can see it clear, yeah.
Date bought February 24th.
Right.
I got in at $3.45. I got out at $20.98, which means that it rose in price at a multiple of about 6 times what I got in, right? From 345 to 2098 is about 6x, right? I went ahead that day. I made 90% on my money in one day. Do you all see that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
But my total return was 500%, which represents 6x. So I didn't just double my money. I didn't triple my money. I didn't quadruple my money. I didn't quintuple my money. I sextupled my money. So if I invested 1,000, I came out with 6,000. Okay? And this is what happens when you understand the power of options and the power of stocks. You know what you're doing. And the people who follow me at HERU Trades, they just, on February 24th, when I make the purchase, I put it on my website for my subscribers. I made this purchase at this price, and this is my expiration date. And then they go ahead and they copy my trade, and they make the same amount of money that I made.
Mm. Okay.
That's why, that's what we have for HERU Trades. So this is just a way that I'm doing this anyway, And I decided to put up HERU trades so people could just copy the trades, and you could make money with me, right? So, you know, the subscription fee is much cheaper than what you'd have made, you know, with this. So it's like, you know, you're actually getting a great bargain because you're learning how to actually make the right trades, follow the right trades, and then you're learning how to get out and get cash, and you make money along with me. And so it's, you know, it's just a thing that I provide because this is what I do anyway. And I'm happy for people to follow what I do and to make the same amount of money that I'm making. Like, I'm not trying to hoard this information to myself. I'm just letting you all know that this is what I'm doing. And this is what the money looks like, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? So these numbers that I'm giving you all is real numbers. And you juxtapose it to what they teach you to do, which is they teach you to put your money into a savings account. And when we start talking about, you know, a savings account, remember that Bank of America savings account gives you 0.01% for the year. If you get a good savings account, great, you might get 2%, or what they call a CD, 3%, but you can't touch that money for like a year. But what they're doing is the banks take the money and then they invest the money in the markets, make 1,000% or 500% like what I make, then they pay you back 1% or 0.01%. That's what they're doing. So it's like me telling you, hey, I got a bank. You can save all your money with me, all you people, save your money. And then it's 10 people saving their money with me, and they gave me in savings $1 million. And in return, I'm giving them 0.01%. But then I'm taking that $1 million and I'm putting it in the market, and I'm 6xing the money, and I made 6 million off of your 1 million, and then I give you 0.01% back. Right? So this is what's happening. They're giving you a fraction of what's actually being invested back. And they tell you, work and save your money. But they don't teach you anything about investing. None of them are teaching you and showing you the numbers that I'm showing you right now. None of them. They're not showing what the possibilities are. That's why the educational system is trash. They just want you to be a worker, and then for you to give your money back to them. Even your 401ks, it's someone else investing in stocks for you. They take fees, and then when you want to take your money out of the 401k, they penalize you because they know that no one's going to teach you what I'm showing you. They know that. No one's going to teach you how to invest in stocks yourself. So you use a fund manager with a 401k associated with and they're not even performing the way that we're performing. You're happy if the 401k gives you 7% over the year, which is just basically the same thing as investing in the S&P 500. You could just invest. Listen, let me just tell you all something very quickly. See all the money y'all got in your 401k where they're taking from you every single month, and they're getting fees. You don't even know who the people are, but when you want to take your money out, they're going to penalize you 20 to 30%, 40% of your money. You could just take your own money and just put it in the S&P 500. Forget HERU trades, forget the stuff that I'm doing. You can literally put it in the S&P 500 and just hold it there. S&P 500 for the last 100 years, on average, gives you a return to 7 to 8%.
All right, Brother HERU, let's go to the calls and take a call out of New York. Brother Ray is on the line. Brother Ray, good morning. How are you?
How you doing, Brother Muhammad? How you doing, Dr. HERU?
Yeah, it's hard to hear you. It's hard to hear him.
Okay, hold up.
Brother Anthony, I don't know if you need to turn it up on your side, but it's hard to hear him.
All right. He's going to talk a little loud.
Quick question. Are you only dealing with option trading? I heard when you deal with options, you win, good, but when you lose, you lose. If I set up an account with you, how much do you need to start with light options? Because I don't want to lose big, because I heard when you lose, you do lose.
Yeah, so in all investing, all investing comes with a risk, right? And I always tell people, like, when it comes to options, I have a very good track record with options, but yeah, you can lose based on a war happening and changing the markets and this and that. So what you're doing is that you're doing cumulative trades, and even the losers that you have, the winners end up paying for the losers, right? So you win more than you lose. Just like record companies, right? They'll sign 100 artists, and maybe you get 3 or 4 artists that actually do really well, and then they end up paying for all of the losses from the other 90 artists, right? So the way we do it the way I do it is I have trades that I do, and I win much more than I lose. There might be some of them that didn't win because of something happened that was crazy, like a war that took the markets in a certain place. But I usually do what you call leap options, which is like 1 year expiration, which gives it time to breathe. I would say that I always tell people, if you've never done options before, do not. I don't want you to register with me, because you need to at least learn how to, like, do an option trade. You need to learn how to buy a stock. If you've never done it before, I don't want you to register with HERU Trades. HERU Trades is for people who have some type of experience in Forex, some type of experience in stock options. And if you don't, and this is just completely new to you, I would not advise that you subscribe to HERU Trades. I don't want you to subscribe. I need you to do a little more due diligence so that you can actually do this responsibly. You can follow my trades, but if you've never done it before, you won't even know how to follow the trades. You won't even know what button to press to buy an option. You won't know the difference between a call option or a put option. So if you don't know these things, I would not advise it. And then anybody who does start out with me, I would advise that you just start out with $100 and see what you're able to do with $100. You can, do Forex with $100 or $200. You can do stock options with that. There's some stock options you won't be able to get because they're expensive, but every now and then I find options that are, less than $100. You can buy maybe one contract and see how that does. And if you're able to double, triple, quadruple that, then you keep on growing it. But I'm not going to be the person to say, put your life savings in this, and you've never done it before. I believe in getting rich slowly. See, a lot of people are going to, phrase it like get rich quick. I believe in getting rich slowly. The reason is that fast money comes with long problems. You're getting more money than you've ever had before, and you don't know how to manage it. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what's going on, and people start spending money in all different types of places. I also tell people that investing is not, or trading is not, what you want to do for your primary income. This is based on surplus income. And what you're doing is that you're taking your surplus money and you're investing it. There's a lot of people who make a mistake that they say, oh, I'm going to quit my job and put all my money into trading. And what happens is that you may need money this month for your rent, so you're going to take it out of your trading account, whatever, and it harms exactly what you're trying to do. So it's about taking surplus income that you might throw away, on X, Y, and Z, and then you put it into these investment vehicles. But for the safest thing that I would tell people to do, man, the safest thing you can do is not Forex like what I do. This is more advanced. Stock options, that's not the safest thing you do. The safest thing you could do is you can literally just put your money into a stock. Put your money into a stock, not a stock option. You put it into a stock that you know it's going to grow. And so what are the stocks that are going to always grow? Because we know what the future is going to bring. Technology stocks. You choose the leaders in that world. So, we always know that people are going to buy things online. So Amazon, you could put your money in Amazon stock and just let it sit there. You can put it into Tesla stock and let it sit there. You can put it into Intel stock and let it sit there. You can put your money into NVIDIA stock and just let it sit there. So this is what I would say to people who've never invested before. If you've never invested before, you're not going to do stock options right away. You're going to buy stocks and keep the money there. You could even just invest in the S&P 500 and keep your money there and just let it go. If just let it sit there for years and don't even touch it. Why am I saying this? Let me give you all the numbers. Okay. I'm going to share with you all the numbers of some of these stocks. This is the easiest thing that you could do. And all you're going to do is what we call dollar cost average. Every week, every month, you can take $10, $20, $100, whatever it is, $1,000, and just buy the stock of some of these leading companies, and you'll watch your money just grow. I did that for years with Tesla stock since 2015. I did that with Bitcoin when Bitcoin, was $100. I was just putting my money and just, I would every week or every 2 weeks I would make money. I would buy Bitcoin, and I'd buy Tesla stock. And before you knew it, it became sizable. And so let's just look at what some of these numbers look like.
Before you look at them, dear brother, Ray, did he answer? That was a good question, brother. You got follow up on that before we let you go?
What he said was very, very good. I deal with Vanguard, and I have did the currency trading, but I know you cannot just jump in that thing because you can't win. I just like Vanguard. I'm scared of options because I don't want to lose with fraud. You get addictive. You get addictive if you win some quick money. The next thing you know, you're just buying anything. You don't know what the hell you're buying.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Good question, my brother. Thank you for chiming in there. All right, brother Ray. Hey, let's go, brother HERU. I got a brother you may know on the line, and I want to introduce him to brother Red Pill because we're considering bringing Red Pill if it pleases him to Birmingham for an AI session at the Crescent Coaching Community Center. And I got the owner of the center, brother Walter Umrani. Brother Walter, welcome to the program. You heard something you want to chime in on, my brother?
I'm telling you, this is brother Anthony, and blessings and greetings to all the wonderful and professionals on the program. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir, we can.
It's actually hard for me to hear him.
All right, and speak up there, brother.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
It's better, yes.
Okay. Thank you all so much. Brother Anthony, I can't tell you how important it is. It's great information. But when we talk about stock options, I'm rooted and rooted here in the bottom line community and advancement of our people. The stock options is, I would think, would be very attractive to our talented camp that are established. And Brother HERU said it so beautifully. I'm looking to find ways for the masses of our people, as he said, to get rich slowly, cautiously with a plan. I'm looking at the Nichols report in the 10-year period. The average household income right here in Birmingham for Black people only increased by 2% as compared to the white household families, a 20% increase. This is where I am, because as long as that metric stays the same, we're not going to make progress as a people. The crime, the violence, and the ignorance is going to continue. My question is, and some advice, Brother Anthony, is how we can get more young people involved in the expectation of increasing their marketable skills and financial position. This is where I am. Thank you all so much. I look forward to having some more discussion about the Crescent Center. And of course, the Nation of Islam is always here to support and help to lead all of our advances as a people. So please chime in on that. How we get more young people involved on the kind. I'm gonna put that on the T-shirt, Dr. HERU. How to get rich slowly. Let's get rich slowly and start that conversation. So thank you so much, Brother Anthony. We'll talk again later. Peace and blessings to everyone.
All right, peace to you, brother. Brother HERU, Brother Red Pill, you may have something on that. But go ahead, Brother HERU.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if Red Pill wants to chime in because I've been talking a lot. Red Pill, you have any comments?
Repeat, not at the moment.
Right. Okay. So what the brother was really asking is how do we get the youth involved in this? And so
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was asking how do we get the youth involved in this type of financial literacy and investing and all of that. And that's why we're doing this show.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I also have a trick that I've been implementing lately, just utilizing the AI. You know, it's I found a use case for the AI, the chatbots like Gemini, Claude, and that's Claude with a D, Chat GPT. I will go onto websites that have information, financial news, technology news. I will copy the news. I will copy the newsletter. I will copy the blogs. I will go into the chat bots, and then I would tell the chat bots to break it down to me like I'm 9 years old, right? Or break it down to me like I'm a ninth grader. And then it will basically spit out all of this news that was written for people who have financial knowledge of a certain type of educational level, but it will simplify it. Then I would take that simplified breakdown, and then I will go and animate it, right? And now they have new tools like Banano 2 and Chat GPT Image 2, where you basically could just paste the text inside of the chatbot and say, turn all of this into comic book pages, turn all of this into panels, animate it, make illustrations, infographics, and then you put it out there in front of the youth, because we have to speak the language of the youth, and the youth speak the language of the level at which they're at. You know, they're into video games, they're very visual, they're digital, they're into cartoons, they're into graphics, they're into all things quote unquote, you know, they're gamers, right? So they're into all things pixelated, pixels. So I like to speak their language. I would also go to suno.com, and I would take information that I've broken down, feed it into Suno, and have Suno make songs and jingles for me, and then animate those songs, animate those jingles, put it on TikTok, put it on YouTube, put it in the places where they're at. That, once again, we meet the people where they're at, speaking their language.
That's good stuff, man. Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
For the red pill, out of the LLMs, and they may be moving to some of the SLLM, the
Yes.
small language model, but which one of these LLMs for images would you recommend to get this information to the youth?
Yes, the top one right now is Chat GPT image. It's the leader in this category at this moment.
Got it. They just rolled out this new one this week, right? A few days ago.
Yeah, they put that one out about a week ago. It dropped. It's free, I believe. If anybody has access to the web, you go on openai.com, and then you click on Chat GPT, or if you have it on your mobile, it will pop up and it'll give you now categories. There's about 10 to 12 preset categories. So you could make a regular picture in your phone turn into a comic book strip, or you could turn it into claymation, or you could turn it into anime just with a press of a button. You don't need to do anything but basically upload your picture, press the button, and press send. And now you have what would usually cost, when I was doing graphic work on Fiverr, I was charging to the $50 up to $500 for logos, for graphics, for flyers, for thumbnails. Right now, I could do that in 5 seconds.
Wow, man. Huh. That's excellent. All right, Brother HERU.
Yeah. So, in terms of getting the youth involved, I think that the first step that you all could do really just have your youth tune into our show every Wednesday morning.
Okay.
In terms of just like wealth development, because anyone who's tuned in from the beginning of we've been doing this, whether it's myself and Brother Anthony doing this for the last year and a half with the wealth results, and then us three doing it together for the last month or so. Anybody who has taken action on any of the stocks that I've called out has made money.
That's right.
And I mean, you can bear witness to that, Brother Anthony. Because I know all the stuff that I've called out, Brother Anthony has gotten into, and he's made, I mean, I think I can say you've made over 20 to 30% on your money.
Well, look, you know, I have a history with you, dear brother. You gotta remember now, you mentioned a few others years ago, I took advantage of those opportunities with Bitcoin and some of the others, Nvidia and some of the other ones out there, and made some nice money at that time. So they said, look, I know. So there's some of the we're just getting this information to some of the folks out there, but you've been teaching us this for some time, and I took advantage of some of the opportunities, my brother.
Yeah, and I would just hope that everyone else does the same. And like, don't think that number one, like, so stocks is the easiest way to make money. Okay, let's just be clear on that. We've told people that when you start studying millionaires, because if you want to be wealthy, you should study wealthy people. If you want to be, you know, an NBA basketball player, you should study Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and these types of people. Study their habits. So if you want to understand money and you want to also be wealthy and have economic freedom, you should study other people who are wealthy and how they got their economic freedom. And when you find out that there's really three pathways to wealth in this world. One is business, owning a business. Two is owning real estate. And three is investing in stocks or stock-like, you know, equities, which you can also consider Bitcoin and all of that. And then when you start parsing those three out, you start finding out like what is the easiest one to make money in that requires the least amount of effort and the least amount of people involved and the least amount of hurdles. And that's stocks. Business and real estate come with a lot of hurdles, come with a lot of headaches, come with a lot of different people that have to be involved. Whereas stocks is just you buying a stock, and whenever you want to sell it, you can sell it right away and get your money right away. Whereas with real estate, you can own a house, a very valuable house, and maybe you have equity of $1 million and you want to sell it, and that thing can sit on the market for a whole year without a buyer. So you can't even, you know, turn that real estate into cash. Then there's all types of taxes that come with it. There's property management. There's, you know, lawyers, surveyors, inspectors, permits, all types of things that you have to get involved with real estate. And so like, and then businesses, you have employees, you have products that you have to deal with, shipping, taxes, you have all types of things in business. You have to handle, if you have employees, you have to be a psychologist and be able to deal with human relations and all of this type of stuff. So making $1 million in a business and making $1 million in real estate and making $1 million in stocks, the third option is the best option because it has the least amount of headache. And so we're looking to have the least amount of headache possible. That's why I always talk to you all about buying stocks, investing in stocks. Of course, you want to be someone who's diversified in terms of the ways that you're making money. So of course I own businesses and of course I own real estate, but the thing that has been the least amount of headache for me in terms of return on investment and having time to myself has been stocks. And, you know, you can look at stocks in different parts of the world. You know, there's stock markets in Africa you can look at, there's stock markets, you know, and then you can invest in companies privately as well. Like if you've got friends who've got business ideas and what have you, you can invest in your friend's business. So it's not just like investing in, you know, multinational corporations and, you know, companies that, you know, you may not like or whatever, but there's different ways to invest your money into businesses and own stock in businesses and make money passively. The easiest way is just to get on Robinhood and put $100 into Amazon and let it sit there. Put $100, and you know, you can't protest because most of you all buy things from Amazon anyway. So you might as well change the relationship from being a consumer to actually being someone who's making money from the company, right? You can look at, so this is what I'm gonna tell people, because there's a lot of people who's on the beginning stages of this, and they're gonna say, HERU, I wanna sign up for HERU Trades. And you'd be surprised how many people I tell not to sign up for HERUTrades.com. About 80% of the people I tell them don't sign up for HERUTrades.com because you've never even bought a stock before. You don't even know what a Forex chart is. So if you do want to get into investing, the lowest hanging fruit, people, is literally get a Robinhood account, have it on your phone. It's free. And you can buy a stock for $10. So don't be intimidated and think that stock is just for wealthy people. You got to have $1 million to invest in stocks. It's not true. You can buy Tesla stock. You can buy Amazon stock. You can buy NVIDIA stock for $10 and just hold it there. Like just hold it for a year and you start seeing that you've doubled your money. Then when you see that you doubled $10, well, doubling $10, if it was 1,000, you'd have doubled that. If it was 10,000, you'd have doubled that too. The percentage increase is what's important of any stock. That's what's important, not the other numbers. It's the percentage increase over time, because that's what would be applied to whatever money you invested initially. It's very important for you all to start looking at it that way. And you go on your phone and you can literally go into Robinhood and just put in like any stock and just click 1 year. And when you click 1 year, it'll tell you how much money you'd have made if you'd have invested literally this is April 29th, 2026. So 1 year would be April 29th, 2025. If you just invested, so I'll share the screen with you all right now before we sign off, because we've been on longer than we usually are. We usually do a 1 hour show, but we like to give people value. So let's look at this. NVIDIA, which is the biggest stock in the world right now. If you'd just put your money into NVIDIA this time last year, 2025, April 29th, you would have doubled your money. Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
96%, you'd have doubled your money. It's almost 100%.
Right.
If you put your money into Intel last year, so I'm going to put it at the 1 year mark. See 1 year?
Mm-hmm.
You would have made 351% on your money.
Wow.
You made 4.5x if you just put the money in Intel and just held it there and didn't touch it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And then we can start looking at, let's say, Amazon. So we can go Amazon. Let's just see what type of money you'd have had if you put your money in Amazon for a year. It would have been 44%, but that's been much better than having it in Bank of America savings account, which gives you 0.01%.
Right.
We can start doing this exercise with all different types of companies, man. Like, AMD, that's another tech company that does, microchips and what have you. Like NVIDIA, they're probably number 2 to NVIDIA. 244%. See, so like, I'm just telling you all, you'd have made more than triple your money by just putting your money in AMD. And guess what? This growth isn't stopping, by the way.
Yep.
It's not stopping because the world is moving in that direction of what we're talking about, AI, and you need microchip processing capacity. And so when you start understanding where the world is going, you can start literally investing ahead of time and being ahead of the curve, because you're going to have companies like AMD, NVIDIA, and what have you, Intel, they're going to keep rising. So it's like, why would you not? If you know this, why would you not? You're basically leaving money on the table.
Right.
You getting a phone call, Anthony?
Yeah, I think I am. Let's see what we got here. Okay. All right. Yes. Very, very important conversation. Caller, you on? I'm not sure who you are. You calling from DC? Caller, you on with Brother HERU and Know the Ledger Red Pill.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, speak up a little louder so the brothers can hear
Can
you.
you hear me better now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you all for the time that you have provided. I want to comment on the kinetic knowledge. So around President Trump's first term, I saw a news report where he was in a Arabian country, and they had their hands like they were touching this glowing ball, like this glowing ball or whatever, and that caught my attention. But I looked up like what was going on, and it had something to do with Palantir. And so I started thinking about it. I was like, hold on, man. President Trump is promoting Palantir personally during his first administration. Okay. So then I thought about it. And like around last year or something, like I said, you know what, let me just get some Palantir. Just because it came to my mind last year.
Right.
And I said, let me just get some Palantir. And at that very time, people were saying, man, Palantir is trash, it's not gonna do nothing, it's this, it's that, right? And I got it, and I see like Palantir is getting all types of government contracts rolled up.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God. So I just want to say, yeah, man, like a lot of this stuff is very, the kinetic knowledge that you're talking about, brother, is absolutely true. Like if when we're watching the news and hearing the news, paying attention to a lot of the relations and a lot of the stuff, we can capitalize on this stuff. But it didn't work for me with Palantir. So I just want to say that.
Yeah. Thank you for your thoughts there, brother. Thanks so much. Brother HERU, talk about that, brother Palantir, your thoughts on Palantir.
So, I mean, Palantir is a wicked company.
Right.
In terms of what they're doing,
right.
But what we're understanding is that what are we doing when we're not investing to help that company grow. We know that the company is growing, and we're just riding that ride to be able to pull out money to put it in the things that we care about. So therefore, let's just say that. So I don't have an emotional attachment to any of my trades. Right. I do have an emotional attachment to private companies that I might invest in. In other words, there's brothers and sisters that I know in Africa that I've invested in their businesses, right? Privately, right? So like a brother owns a restaurant in Tanzania and I invest in that. A brother owns a farm in Kenya, I invest in that. Like big up to my brother Naphtali in Nairobi, I invest in that. I have a brethren named Joshua in Tanzania. I invest in, he was starting a restaurant. I invested in that, right? Or was able to give them loans in that at a very small interest rate, much better than their banks, right? So that's what I do in terms of the investments that I actually care about. When I'm talking about the stock market, for the US stock market, I have no care about these companies at all. I have no emotional attachment to these companies. What I'm doing is I'm using kinetic knowledge. So if I know, for instance, that Palantir is about to get a big contract tomorrow, right? I have no problem to put my money into a Palantir stock, watch my money rise, and then sell that stock or to sell that option, because I'm not investing in Palantir. I'm investing in myself and my knowledge. Right? I'm not there to enrich Palantir, because I'll sell that stock in a second. I'm not holding on to that stock for any emotional reason. But here's the thing. Everyone can use the judgment as to what they would like to play around with in terms of where they want to put their money. The problem is that our people don't have options. And what I mean by options, like choices. Like, it's important for you to understand the choices before you decide that, oh, I don't want to invest in this company or not. Because what happens is we put moral judgments in the companies that we want to invest in. Because like I said, Palantir is a terrible company. They're about a police state and all of that. I understand what they're doing. Me not investing is not going to stop the rise of Palantir. But what I can do is I can capitalize on whatever Palantir is doing to raise my own portfolio for myself and my family, and then invest that money that I made off of a Palantir lick into the things that are actually anti-Palantir. You get what I'm saying? So the point is this, though. A lot of times, there'll be people in our community, particularly the conscious part of our community, and they're not wrong, like about a lot of these companies. But the problem is that if you're living in America and you're paying taxes to some degree, you're feeding the beast to some degree. And then the other side of it too is that a lot of people, the companies that you would never invest in, you're paying them in one way or another. So for instance, if a company is getting government contracts, guess what? any tax that you paid is going into Palantir. If you pay any taxes, that's part of the government contract money that Palantir is getting. So actually taking money from Palantir through the stock market is your way of getting your money back. If you want to look at it that way. There's people who would talk to me and say, man, I don't want to invest in Amazon. I hate Jeff Bezos. But then you see that they've got products in their Amazon shopping cart. You know, they buy from Amazon almost every week, right? But so you don't have a problem. You don't have a problem purchasing from Amazon, but you have a problem investing in Amazon. You're not really even investing. You're not even investing. What we're doing is we're literally putting money in, multiplying it, and then we can take the money out. That's what I do with the options. If you want to do long-term investing, you can do it. If it's a company you like and it's rising, you can make that money. And I mean, there's people who've been, you know, I know people, these are old white folks, by the way, old white money that I ran into some time ago, who like parents, grandparents. So this is what a lot of wealthy white people do. Their grandparents would have owned like 100,000 shares of Coca-Cola from the 1950s, and they never sell it.
Nope.
And guess what they do? They give the stock holdings of Coca-Cola from the 1950s to their children as an inheritance. And they pass it down, and they pass it down. But these 100,000 shares now are worth like maybe, or these, you know, whatever shares that they got very early in the company when the company started is worth like maybe $1 billion. And they're passing it on to their children, and they'll never sell Coca-Cola stock. And what they do is they'll borrow against the stock, because that stock is basically like a gold mine for them, and they're never going to sell the gold coming from it, but they will borrow against it. And when you borrow against an asset, it's a tax-free event. You don't pay taxes on borrowing. So what wealthy folks have been doing is they'll accumulate stock, and guess what? That same family wouldn't have bought a can of Coca-Cola ever.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They don't buy Coca-Cola. They don't drink it. They'll tell you, they'll be the first one to tell you Coca-Cola is unhealthy. We don't drink that, but we own 1 million shares of Coca-Cola stock. You understand what I'm saying? So I just need people to like be realistic in what they're doing. Like if you are going to boycott a company, that's fine. Just make sure you're not giving them any money in terms of your retail. These people talking about like oil and like, oh, the war is increasing. I don't want to like invest in oil because I'm investing in the benefits of the war. But then you go to the gas station and you pump gas in your car. You just paid the oil company. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just need people to be realistic. What happens is a lot of times people are giving excuses not to actually get busy in the game. If you want to be a 9-to-5 earner and this is the only way you make money, that's up to you. For the people who would like to make their money in their sleep and not have to only make money by selling their time, which is basically a wage employee, this is the conversation that we're having here. And then I think that it would behoove everyone to know how to do this so that you can actually have choices. You can then make a choice. But if you don't know how to do this, whether you like a stock or not, doesn't matter, right? Because you don't even have the choice to press the button. I want to give people the choice to say, hey, if today you wanted to make a quick lick, a quick 100%, like if I gave you the proposition, Brother Anthony said, listen, I know Amazon is about to do something like next week, and it's going to shoot the stock price up 200%.
Right.
If you put $1,000 in today and you just wait 1 week, that $1,000 will be $3,000, and you can get your money back and just take your money out. Would you do it or not?
No brainer, my brother. I'm doing it. Yes, sir. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So I'll go back and brother Walter brought up the youth. Look, man, ancestor Dr. Bobby E. Wright coined the phrase communiversity. So we've been having this communiversity for some time on these airways. So anytime you were around children with the youth, the Watoto, pull them in, and so they can hear what Brother HERU and Brother Red Pill is saying about AI and stocks and investments and all that. So bring the youth on in to listen to some of what we're discussing, so they'll get into some of this early. All right, brother, we got got to get out of here, man. We're approaching 2 hours.
Yeah.
And look, I've been in your presentations, man, and you can sit around, ain't nobody going nowhere. We end up sitting around 6, 7, 8 hours. Brother HERU still giving us that information. So we're kind of used to it. Okay, you came here, Birmingham and did a 5, 6 hour lecture and giving up information, man. Some folks ain't going nowhere. So we appreciate the man content, but we got to get out of here.
Yeah, no problem. Big up to the SANKOFA Revolutionary radio crew. And again, it's just about the numbers. I do have a comment here that someone said that I said that a few years ago I would never invest in the oil industry. So the oil industry is not something that I typically would invest in for a few reasons. One of the reasons is that the oil industry is very volatile, right? And so it's very hard to predict where oil prices are going. There's just too many moving parts in terms of geopolitical events in a normal environment. However, in a wartime environment where there's a blockade of the Straits of Hormuz, it is almost like 100% predictable in free money that the price of oil will go up. Like it's basically like it's free money, right? Because we know that the price of oil is going to go up if the Straits of Hormuz is closed. It's actually the easiest money that you would ever make. So one of the reasons why I never invested in oil in the past is because I cannot predict how oil is going to move, because it's a very volatile thing, and you try to invest in things that aren't as volatile. I also saw that people are moving away from oil for energy for many different things, but oil is still a prime mover in the world. But whenever you see that the Straits of Hormuz is going to be closed, you know that the price of oil is going to go up. And so and I'd like to also let people know that when we talk about investing, there's different levels of investing. What you saw me do is that you saw me get Forex trades and also stock options. That's actually not investing, that's trading. Investing, so let me just break it down for people. Investing is long-term. Trading is more short-term. So investing, when you're an investor, you're usually looking to buy and hold a position or a stock or an asset for at least 5 to 10 years. So I would never invest in an oil company or oil anything for 5 to 10 years because there's just too much volatility in what happens in the world. It's an unwise investment. However, I will invest in technology, particularly anything that has to do with the storage of data, which would be microchips in terms of compute power because of the way things are moving with AI. I will invest in electric vehicles because I know 5-10 year horizon there's going to be more electric vehicles than internal combustion engine vehicles. I would invest in Amazon over time because I know that more people are going to choose to order online than actually go to a store, right? That's a long-term. So investing is a long-term word. Trading, however, is taking advantage of technical analysis on the charts and even some news events. So what I'm doing with oil is I'm actually not investing in oil. I'm trading oil. There's a difference. Like for those who don't understand it, it may sound like semantics and you might not think that it's different. But those who actually are involved in something like this understand the difference between trading and investing. And when I'm doing Forex for oil, I'm not actually contributing to the oil price. I'm just taking advantage of the movement of the price. So Forex is a lot different than actually buying the stock. People need to understand that. So Forex is more looking at the charts and participating in the growth of the movement, not necessarily the growth of the stock. So when I buy a position on oil and Forex, none of that money actually goes to any of the oil companies. So it's some nuances there that people would need to understand why I take the positions that I take. So the person who brought that out, if I did talk about not buying oil 5 years ago, the environment has changed in terms of the predictability of making money off of oil. But what you'll notice is when I showed you USO and BNO, I did not buy any stock in those oil companies. I actually bought what you call options contracts, which is not buying stock, is actually buying the ticket to be able to buy the stock at a future price. I end up selling the ticket, right? So it's just like, as I say for options, it's the difference in between like actually buying stock in Michael Jackson or actually buying his concert tickets. So what I'm doing is I'm buying Michael Jackson concert tickets. That's what a stock option is. I'm buying his concert tickets before Thriller is released, because I know that the price of his concert tickets are about to go up because he's about to release an album named Thriller. So I can make 5 times my money reselling these tickets. That's what the stock option is. So just to clarify that for people, but the reality of the situation is that what we're going to do every time we do this show is we're going to show you the numbers, and then you make a decision which move that you want to make. But the problem is that our people don't even have the option to say, I don't want to do this, or I do want to do this. And what I want to do is I want to present people the options in a whole different world that exists that people don't know about. That's why you see people sitting on a beach and you don't know what they do for a living. And they own all these stocks and they're making money hand over fist while they're sleeping. And we don't know anything about it because no one's ever taught us this. And because I'm self-taught, I'm able to show you all like, okay, this is what I do. And this is the percentage that I made this particular day, this particular week. And I show you all the numbers. And so people can argue with words, but it's hard to argue with numbers. And you can look at all the numbers that I showed from today. You can verify it. And just, I would just tell people this. If you want to get a sense of like the power of investing and the power of trading, just download Robinhood on your phone. And then just start by going to, let's just say, this is the exercise I would tell the beginners to do. I want you to go to Robinhood, and you can just start with something like any stock that you know about, like Google, any of these companies that are major companies that you would know about, right? This is the exercise that you should do. First of all, you should know that if you put your money in a savings account, if you put your money in a savings account, Bank of America savings account, they will pay you 0.01% interest per year, okay? And then the next thing that you do, and I'm gonna show and prove for people, because this is very important, because a lot of our people are completely out of the loop with this thing and have all types of ideas, but people aren't really talking numbers. And then the choice is yours, right? So everyone can see this. Can you see this red pill?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what you do, all you do is you just put in the name of a stock like AMD, right? Mm-hmm. They make chips. And all I want you to do is on the Robinhood chart is going to give you 1 week, 1 month, 3 month, year to date, 1 year. I want everyone to just click 1 year. The 1 year is going to tell you how well that stock did in terms of the rise in value and how much multiples of money you would have made or lost. And then you compare that with Bank of America, 0.01%. Okay? So for instance, Intel right now, this chart is telling us, AMD, 1 year gives you 247%. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to just do the math. And I'm going to just put up a calculator so that we don't have to get into like any types of, because I know our community, and I know like people got all these types of like really interesting positions that they take, but people aren't really getting options like to understand what's going on, right? So I'm gonna show you all this real quick, and then I'm gonna show you while we were talking what's been going on with my oil position in Forex, right? Because we started this show at 9 a.m. It's 2 hours later, and I'm gonna show you all the difference. So all right, AMD is 247%. What we're going to do now is we're going to do some basic math. And here's the math we're going to do. Here's the math we're going to do. I want you all to compare, and we're going to look at the calculator. This is really good for you all to look at. Okay. Bank of America. Can you see the calculator, Red Pill?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's just say that you had $10,000 and you were going to put it into Bank of America times 1% is 0.0001. 10,000 times 0.0001. Bank of America is going to give you $1 off of your $10,000. Does everyone see that? Can you see that, Brother Red Pill?
Yep, I see that. I see that lonely one.
Okay. So you can save your money in Bank of America, or you could decide to put your money into AMD. And you saw that that number for AMD was 247%. Okay. So 240% is 2.4x. It's actually 240% is actually 3.4x. So let's look at this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the calculator and we're going to put in 10,000 times 3.4. This is how much money you would have. 34,000.
Yikes.
Now, with Bank of America, you'd have $10,001. Putting your money into AMD and letting it sit there for a year, you'd have $34,000. You'd have made $24,000 profit because it went up 247%, right? So that's the profit you would have made. So if we want to do profit, for those who are a little bit confused, I can just do it this way. 10,000 times 2.47 because it went up 247%. So this will be your profit. $24,700 is your profit versus $1 from Bank of America. So now you have choices. You can now decide for yourself, do you want to invest in AMD for 1 year and keep your money there for 1 year? Or do you want to put your money in a bank and keep it there for 1 year and make $1? Now, the banks will tell you, well, that's just the beginning savings rate. If you put it in a CD, maybe you get 3%. So now all we have to do is do the math now for $10,000 at 3%. And let's look at that. $10,000 at 3%. 10,000 times 0.03. The money you'd have made is $300. So you want to now compare $300 profit to $24,000, which is what you'd have made with the same amount of money, but you kept it in the bank because you were told to save your money and put it in a savings account because this is what the educational system tells you to do. But they don't train you on how to actually flip your money legally in a very, very serious way, which you'd have done if you'd known to just put that money into AMD, because you know that the future is going towards microchips and processing and all of that. And you just put that money in there and let it sit there for a year, that 10,000 would have turned into 34,000. So now you have choices, yo. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to invest in AMD, but you need to know that you have the choice to. But right now, our people don't have the information enough to say that, hey, this is what I could do with my money. I could actually put it into AMD or NVIDIA or into something that would grow my money, as opposed to keeping it in a bank where I'm going to lose money. Why am I saying lose money? Because the rate of inflation every year is about 7 to 8%, the true rate of inflation, which means that your spending power of your dollar goes down about 8% every year. That's why groceries become more and more expensive over time, right? 20 years ago, what you could buy for $100 in a grocery, as opposed to what you can buy now, look at the difference in the shopping carts, is completely different. right? $100, you're getting a few things at the grocery store, right? You might not even have a full shopping cart. 20 years ago, you'd have like 2 or 3 full shopping carts. And so the point is that it's the same bread you're buying, but why is it more expensive? It's because of inflation. So that means that anything that you're investing your money in or saving your money in, if you're not making 8% a year, you're losing money because the rate of inflation outpaces the rate of your investment. I'm just showing you and giving you options. So once you now have the options, you can make the decisions as to how you want to move. But our people don't even have the option. Our people don't even know the choices to make. And so when I start showing these numbers, people get very quiet because they're shocked. They can't believe that they could have made this type of money doing nothing. Literally in your sleep, it's growing. Now, what I'm going to do before we end is let's look at the status of my oil Forex trade. Brother Red Pill, you remember that I showed my Forex trade on oil. And where were we at? We were at 12,000 pips.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So between the beginning of the show and now, let's look to see how much my account has grown with Forex. So this is it right here. Can you see it, brother Red Pill?
Yes, sir.
Could you read people where we're at now?
Damn, we're at 14,000.
Yes. And this is real. Like, you see, these are real numbers. As you see, this is a real account. It says live. U.S. oil.
Right.
So in my conversation,
there's such a thing called demo accounts, correct?
yes, there's demo accounts where you're not trading with real money. And then there's demo account and there's live account. As you see, this is a live account. Okay. That means that this is real money. And what I'm just showing you all is that I'm casually making money while I'm having a conversation with you all doing this show.
Right.
So I'm making money in the background without working. And this is the point that I'm trying to show you all, is that we all could be like this. We all could actually benefit from this, because if you understand these financial markets, you understand that this is what the wealthy people are doing. This is how they're making money. And no one teaches us this. No one shows us this. And we're busy arguing about celebrities. This is what it's at. I refuse to do what the average person is doing. I refuse, because you get average results in life. Always understand that no matter where I live, if I live in China, if I live in Vietnam, if I'm living in Nigeria, I'm going to find out all of the vehicles that I could use to thrive in whatever environment that I'm in. You better believe that. And I'm going to then find out what is the best return on investment of my time. And it definitely won't be on Facebook arguing with y'all about Megan Thee Stallion. It won't be that. I'll tell you that right now. I'll be on doing a live show with Red Pill and Sankofa Revolutionary Radio, and I'm going to show you all what I'm doing. And while I'm showing you all, I'm making money. So this is why I don't have to get into like any of these like conversations that make no sense. Because every time, even if I'm arguing with anybody, understand that within my arguments, I'm making money in the background. Just like how a computer runs in the background and runs programs in the background, please understand that whether you like what I'm saying, you don't like what I'm saying, in the background, my pips are rising. You know, by the end of the day, I'll probably be at 15, 16, 17,000 pips. And when we started doing this show, brother Red Pill, you bear witness, I was at 700 pips. You remember that. We have records of that. It's on Know the Ledge. It's on Know the Ledger.
Yeah, it's documented.
It's documented. You saw I was at 700 pips when this whole hostilities of the war started, and I said I'm getting into an oil trade. You saw 700 pips. You saw it go to 2,000. Today it's at 14,000. At the beginning of the day, it was at 12,000. Now it's at 14. Who knows? By the end of the day, I might be at 20,000. Okay? So the point of the matter is, man, like those of you all listening, this is a rare opportunity for you all to see this type of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Because most people only talk theory, but they're not going to show you what their chart looks like. They're not going to show you what their options look like on different things. I'm showing you all, I'm giving you all transparency. And every week, I'm giving you all the follow-ups of the calls that I made. And you all can write this down. In terms of the wartime stocks that I got into, in terms of stock options, it's ECVT, Ecovist, which makes sulfuric acid, is USO, which is US oil, and BNO, which is Brent oil. And all you got to do to see if HERU's right is just go to those different letters on Robinhood, and you'll be able to see what those numbers look like week to week, month to month. And well, guess what's going to happen this time next year? You will see that I caked up. I just caked up because I'm using kinetic knowledge. And the thing is that every single person can cake up using kinetic knowledge, because I am going to say I think I'm of average intelligence personally. It's just that I don't get distracted by things that don't bring me anything in return. And I think that what's happened with our people largely is that we've been made to get excited about things that give us no ROI, whether it be entertainment, politics, whatever. All this information that we're getting in our head is not usable information to benefit our lives and our children's lives and our families' lives. So what we're trying to do here every week is to give you a pathway to actually changing the things that excite you into things that can lead into kinetic knowledge, movable, actionable information. Whether you do it or you don't, please understand that I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, because what I know is there are certain situations and certain fact patterns where the money literally becomes free money, where you're just printing money. In the last 2 hours, I've printed money with my oil trades. I printed money with my stock options trades. Those who are following me on HERU trades, they're printing money as well. Probably next week I can have some of my subscribers call in and, you know, talk to you all about how well they're doing. But the point of the matter is this, is that whether you take my trades or don't take my trades, the point of the matter is for you to be a liberated person economically, and for you to start engaging in these types of activities, and not just to be a wage earner and a spender in America, where, you know, these politicians make decisions and all of a sudden gas tomorrow is $10 a gallon and there's nothing you can do about it. Because the investors and those of us who are trading $10, let me just keep it real with y'all. The difference between those who are wealthy and those who are not is how we handle the news. What do I mean by that? Do you all understand that tomorrow, if they tell me that gas is $10 a gallon, for me, I won? I won huge, because I have a position in oil. And if that price shoots up like crazy, I won. The sad thing is that all the people I've talked to who didn't take a position, you're going to lose, because you're going to be paying more at the gas station. Because that's your only exposure. Right. That's your only exposure to the oil market, is being a consumer.
Customer. Right.
Yes.
Only one route.
I'm telling you that you can be an investor and a trader. So now when the price of oil goes up, you've just made tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And I want us to have a different position. I want us to have a different position.
Perspective.
Yes, it's all positioning and perspective, so that we're no longer victims, y'all. I'm tired of us being victims. And so what I'm saying is that what wealthy people are doing is they're hedging their positions. They're putting positions in the fact that they know that there is going to be no quick end to this Straits of Hormuz issue. The price of oil is going to go up, y'all. And your decision is, and your choice is, are you going to be a consumer, or are you going to be someone who has a position that benefits on this using kinetic knowledge? That is the only point that I'm making. If you want to just be a consumer and be subjected, well, you're with everyone else. That's what everyone's doing. But there's a small percentage of us who understand this, and we're able to take advantage of this, and we're able to actually not become victims anymore. If you know that AI is happening and it's going to take over jobs, well, you can decide that you're going to be someone who's a job seeker who's not going to get a job because of AI, because AI can do work much quicker than you for a cheaper price and doesn't call out sick. Or you could start investing in AI companies right now. And as the AI companies rise in value, you yourself are getting a nest egg in value. So imagine that someone told you, hey, listen, man, AI is going to take over. A lot of people are going to lose jobs, but you can invest in this company or put some money in this company right now that's going to blow up in the next 5 years. And, you know, out of your 10 grand, that 10 grand will be $1 million. Would you not do it? That's the choice. Because you in 5 years could have $1 million and everyone around you might be crying because they can't get a job, but you took advantage of kinetic knowledge. We don't control these decisions that are made in the world by, you know, people with billions of dollars and armies and all of that. But what we can do is we can understand where the world is moving, and we can leverage whatever income or money that we have. Instead of spending that money on things that don't matter, which are basically liabilities, we can spend the money on growing our money. And this is what I'm trying to show you all, how to grow your money. Now, by no means is my methodology the only way. I'm never going to tell you my way is the only way. I'm just showing you what worked for me. And I'm happy with the progress that I've made over the years, yo. So it's like, you know, we're going to keep having these conversations. We're going to keep showing and proving the numbers, and do with the information as you want. But I would advise you to move wisely with the information. And if anything, just move with the information. Everybody should have Robinhood or some type of stock thing on their phone. So you can, if you decide that you want to get in, you get in. I mean, I would ask the audience, like, in 1999, if you could have got Amazon stock, if you could have put $10,000 in Amazon stock, you, your family, whatever, in 1999, would you have, based on what you know now? And the only people who say, no, I'm not going to because I don't like Amazon, Jeff Bezos, you have to be someone who's never, ever purchased something from Amazon. If you hate them so much, then you shouldn't have ever bought anything from Amazon. Then I can understand your argument. But for everyone else, if you've ever made a purchase on Amazon, there's no reason why you wouldn't get Amazon stock and sit on it for the last 10, 20 years and develop a serious nest egg. And as a matter of fact, as we start to close out, let's look at Amazon stock from when Amazon was founded, and let's just see how much money you'd have made if you'd have just invested in Amazon stock in 1999. Okay. All right. So Amazon stock went public in January 31st, 2000. I'm going to share this with you all. You all ready for this? So let's look at this. I'm going to show you all this real quick. So in 2000, if you knew where the world was going, which everyone should have been able to know that, like, okay, yeah, people are going to buy things and have it delivered to their doorstep instead of going to the mall and going to the store. It's more convenient. Technology moves that way. So can you see this now, Brother Red Pill?
Yep, this chart, Amazon.
Yes, Amazon.
Yes,
so I went to Max. So you see on Robinhood, you can go to daily, weekly chart, 1 month max, means that the stock from the beginning of when the stock went public. The day that it went public, do you see where it says January 31st, 2000?
Yes.
Okay, this is the beginning of the stock. Between then and now, can you tell me the percentage that Amazon stock has risen? Right here.
It's risen 8,626%.
Okay.
Yikes.
All right. So let's just do the math. 600% is 7x. 8,600 is 87x. So now let's go to our trusted calculator. Let's do some math. I want to show you all this because this is very important. These conversations are not had, but most people are very familiar with buying from Amazon because, you know, it's easy to buy from Amazon, right? But it's actually easy. It's easier to buy a stock of Amazon than it is to actually make a purchase on Amazon, but they don't teach you this. But let's look at the calculator. Now that we know it's 87x, I'm going to now bring up the calculator, y'all. Okay, share screen, window, calculator. All right, y'all. Can you see the calculator, Phil?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, so let's take that same $10,000. Times, oops, sorry, y'all. 10,000 times 87. You'd have $870,000.
Man.
That's what you'd have. Damn near $1 million off of $10,000 that you put into Amazon 25 years ago and just kept it there.
Damn. Yeah.
And wealthy people aren't invested. They're not putting 10,000 in. They're putting like 100,000, $1 million in. If you put 100,000 in, you'd be at 8.7 million. You see? But I'm just showing you all the numbers.
Right.
This is what the numbers look like, and this is what people are sitting on, and this is what people are doing. And the numbers look crazier with different stocks. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, it's not just like Amazon is not even like the highest performing one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if you want to look at something like, you know, NVIDIA. Okay, let's do NVIDIA.
Yeah.
You want to do NVIDIA?
Yeah, pull NVIDIA up, please.
All right. Let's
Those
pull up
numbers are
NVIDIA.
crazy.
Let's do NVIDIA. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm about to show you NVIDIA. Here we go. So NVIDIA, since NVIDIA went public, and they went public in April 2000. Okay? A lot of us remember where we were in the year 2000. Remember they said the world was coming to an end in 2000? Right? Okay, so check this out. Here's NVIDIA. Okay. Do you see the max?
Yeah.
What do you see? 26,000.
26,600. It's 26,868%.
Okay. What that means is that this represents a 269 times investment. So you'd have made 269x, which is damn near 270x. So let's go back to our trusted calculator. Okay? 270x. Let's go to the calculator. Show you all why the wealthy keep getting wealthy, and no one is teaching you this. No one's telling you this because they want you to remain poor and have no options, right? So let's start with $10,000. And again, this can be done with $1,500, whatever you want to start with to run these numbers, you can do it. But it's times 269x. you'd have $2.69 million, $2,690,000 with a $10,000 investment into NVIDIA in the year 2000. That's what it looks like, y'all.
That's crazy. Yikes.
And I'm not even talking about stock options, which is, many more multiples of that.
Right.
But I'm just saying that if you just put your money into NVIDIA and you just let it sit, which is what there's people who do that. And this is what I call get rich slowly. They just put their money every week. They'll put their money into NVIDIA stock or to Tesla stock. And it's not a lot. They might put $100 every week. So instead of, blowing their money at a strip club or buying beer or whatever it is that they're buying, they say, you know what? I'm just going to dollar cost average into, my favorite stock because I know what it's going to do in the future because of where the future is going. And over time, they ended up putting the $10,000 or however much money it turns out to be because they're saying, I'd rather put my money into this than into the bank. Because the bank is going to pay me $1 for every $10,000 that I put in. But for this $10,000, I'm going to put it into NVIDIA in the year 2000. And by 2026, I've got $2.6 million. And guess what? The wealthy do, Phil. They never cash out the stock. They borrow against it. And next week, I can talk about.
Of course, that's an asset. Yeah. We got to get into that more.
Yeah. Next week, I'll talk about the math of borrowing against your assets and why they borrow against their assets, because they know that this is going to be in perpetual growth. They don't want to sell the stock. So what are you going to do? You're going to borrow against it. If you owned a piece of Manhattan in the 1800s, if your family owned, let's say, 100 acres in Manhattan in the 1800s, should your family should have ever sold that 100 acres? No. They'll never sell that 100 acres of Manhattan. What they'll do is they'll borrow against it.
Right.
And every time they borrow against it, it's a non-taxable event. You don't pay taxes on loans. You understand what I'm saying?
Fact.
And every bank has a securities loans department, which is basically borrowing against your stock portfolio. You don't know about it as a listener or a consumer because you don't know about it because they don't teach you about it. But every bank, Bank of America, all of these banks have a securities loans department that you can go and book an appointment and you can literally get like a 1% to 2% loan on your stocks, as opposed to an 8% loan or a 20% loan through credit cards or an 8% traditional loan for business. So what people do is they'll take their stock portfolio, maybe borrow $100,000 out of this 2.6 million. They'll borrow 100,000 at like 2% and start a business with it. And now that 100,000 grows into like $1 million and they pay back the 100,000, but they never sold the stock. So now a year later, that stock has grown another 100%. So now instead of, 2.6 million, they've got 5.2 million. You understand? And this is how it works, y'all. Like, this is just what it is. These are the numbers. So you have to just make a decision. Do you want to participate in the growth that's going to happen anyway? And do you want to have $2.6 million or not over time? And the thing is, like, investing is just like growing a tree, man, a fruit tree. Like they say, the best time to grow a fruit tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a fruit tree is today.
Today, right.
Right? So if you didn't do it 20 years ago, you can get started today because time is ticking. And we're just time is money, and you should be making money with your time. Like the last 20 minutes ago, I had just hit 14,000 pips, right? On the oil trade. Let me show you where we're at now. I'm going to show y'all where we're at now. And probably once a month, I'll probably do trainings for people just to show you how to get set up and all of that. I'll probably start doing that once a month, and it'll like, we can even do it through Know the Ledge. Patreon or whatever. Me and Phil will talk about it.
Yes,
Red
we
Pill
will.
get to it.
And
But
we do
look,
have a big announcement next class. We're going to have a big announcement for everybody that has been tapped in. So definitely look out for that.
So notice I'm at 14.5 now. See that? I had just broken 14,000. I'm at 14,500.
14.5.
Yeah, which is heading towards 15,000. And that was just 20 minutes ago, last time we checked.
Right. Back at the ranch.
Yeah. So this is just the reality of what we're doing. And I'm just giving you all a window into my life, into how we get down over here. There are no opportunities that we walk away from. We are not 9-to-5 employees. We control our own destiny. We don't have a boss that we check into. We don't ask for vacation. We've solved our problem when it comes to these financial markets by being able to use technical analysis, fundamental analysis, the news and kinetic knowledge to make sure that we sleep when we want, we wake up when we want, we travel when we want, we do what we want because we're economically free. And that is the bottom line of this. And so when we talk about liberation, economic liberation for our people, you have to start with yourself. Free up yourself and then show other people how you freed yourself. Just like what Harriet Tubman did. She was able to escape the plantation, but she came back and showed other people how to escape the plantation. And all I'm doing is I'm showing you how I escaped the plantation. There may be other escape routes, but anyone who's offering you escape routes, please ask them to show and prove what they're doing and to share these numbers with y'all. This is what we do in terms of health. People got cancer. We're able to show and prove to you how their cancer was reversed. They got high blood pressure, diabetes. We show you how it's been reversed at herbalresults.net. We are big on showing and proving. And then you have a choice as to which way you want to go.
Facts. Open source.
That's what we do.
Right.
You know, this is what we do. So, you know, just to let you all know, man, like, it is what it is. This is what I've been doing. And again, you can just learn what I'm doing, and then you can make a choice and say, you know, I don't want to do that. It's too risky for me. Because any investment, you can lose your money, right? If you don't know what you're doing, you can lose your money. You can decide, hey, I'm going to just keep my money in a savings account in a bank and make 0.01% or 1%. My only thing is just, I want to give you the choices. You're not presented choices in this world that you're living in. They just tell you, go to school, fill out a resume, get a job. We'll handle 401k for you. And then you retire. You can put your money in a savings account, but they're taking advantage of you because of inflation and the printing of money, diluting the monetary supply. So those who are not interested in that type of life where you're taking advantage of, and you could say, well, I could just put my money in the bank and it'll be safe. You can do that. You can have that type of economic experience. Then there are other people who are like, I'm willing to take a risk. I'm not going to put all my money into stocks. I'm going to put a portion of it into it and see what it does. And so guess what? Let's just say you had $20,000 in savings, or your family had $20,000 in savings. You could take $10,000 and put it and keep it in your 1%, 0.01% savings account. And then you can take the other 10 and just put it in the stock market in some choice stocks that make sense and just hold it there. And then you can compare now. Okay, I'm in year 5 now. I've made $5 because that's what you're going to make in Bank of America with your $10,000. In 5 years, you'll make $5. And in 5 years, I invested in XYZ company that deals with AI or whatever. And that 10,000 now is 50,000, or now it's 100,000. Now you can compare it. But the problem is our people are not given these choices because our people are not brought into these worlds. And I just want to just expose people to the worlds that exist. It's worked for me, and it should work for you, you know? So the most important thing is to look at these numbers, y'all. Like, the numbers are the numbers. You know, I have good brethren, you know, who was like, firebun the system and this and that. Like, I had one good brethren, one good Rasta brethren. He was like, firebun the system and this and that. And I started showing him the numbers, and his tune changed. You know, I started showing him the numbers. Like, listen, man, you know, like in the last year, how much have you spent on ganja?
Lord.
And he starts
Right.
doing the math. Like,
He did the
okay,
math and was blown.
yeah, like, okay, yeah, I spent $1,000 on weed for this year. Okay, let's just say like if you that 1,000 you'd have put into this particular thing like Amazon or whatever, how much money would you have now? And then he looked at it and he's like, oh my goodness.
Man.
You know, and then he's like, yo, how I can invest. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, I understand, man. You know, we're just not exposed to these things, man. And so we have all these types of opinions about things that we don't really know about. But to me, numbers speak louder than words, you know? So that's why I make it a point every show, Red Pill, you notice that I share the numbers because
as you should.
Yeah, because
you know,
we can't be out here, as we say in Africa, practicing English.
And right, just to add on the platform, I wouldn't even, you know, no matter who comes up here, that's something that would have to be done on both ends, the health and the wealth. It's receipts only, you know what I'm saying? Because we have to stand out from the myriad of all of the other of the slop that's out there. I never want to be I want to be indistinguishable from any of those platforms or any of those you know, we're gonna do results here. Exactly. And that's why when you came through and you said kinetic knowledge, it literally was like a eureka moment for me. It was almost like that piece in the puzzle that's missing before the masterpiece is complete. And I'm like, yeah, we moving because you know you got the kinetic knowledge, like it you know it worked. And then I saw you live in Atlanta. I was in the audience with the 6 testimonials on the stage, right? Living proof, testaments, like real talk, real testimonies, real live.
Yeah, that was the cancer. That was the cancer reversal.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Brain cancer. No, you know, let me not even say these words.
I mean, we can say cancer. We just ain't gonna talk about the
prostate. They was all up there glowing, smiling, and I was like, yeah, that's what we about to let the people. We about to saturate the people with this real talk. This is real talk. When people say real talk, nah, this is real talk right here. It's not just talk; it is testament.
Absolutely, man. And, you know, this is what our people deserve. You know, we've been through a lot as a people worldwide, and there's been a lot of, you know, false hopes and scammers, and, you know, a lot of people have been taken advantage of in our community. So I'm very sensitive to that. I know that you'll get a million people coming on saying, hey, I can do this, I can do that, or I can heal you, or I can change your economic situation. And then they run away with the bag. That's happened a lot in our communities, and I'm very sensitive to that. That's why I'm very big on showing and proving. I'm very big on, hey, here's the illness reversals, and you can go to herbalresults.net and just go to testimonials page, and you'll see long form video interviews of people who were once sick. And then when we start talking about wealth, I can talk intimately about the things that I've been engaged in, whether it's buying land in, you know, the Caribbean or different parts of the world, investing in America, investing in Africa. And I bring people on the show to talk about their experiences with what they've been able to do, like what we did with Nicola Asante, talking about her life. And we're going to have more business owners and more people who invest and more people who are moving and shaking in the world, so that your audiences and my audience can become aware that there are people moving and shaking. There are people actually doing things. You may not know about them because they're not part of the algorithm that's being force-fed to you, right? Most of the people that you know about in terms of celebrities are completely useless for the development of your life and your children's life, but they're pushed in front of you every day. You know when a Beyonce album is dropping, but you don't know when a sister like Nicola Asante starts a business that's going to solve the education problem. Like the sister has an online educational academy that you can register online and take your children out of school and homeschool your children. She has that. She developed that. You know what I mean? So it's called Whole Living Academy. You all can go online and look for it. But what I'm saying is that there are those of us who are solving problems, yo. It's just that we're not in the algorithm the way it needs to be, because as far as we're concerned, the powers that be don't want our problems to be solved. They don't want our health problems to be solved. They don't want our economic problems to be solved, because they want us to always be a subservient, independent people. And that is the key to the power of other people, is when Black folks are subservient, dependent, and infighting, right? And divided. This is what those powers want from us. And so what we're doing with Know the Ledge and what we're doing with Herbal Results and HERU Trades is we're completely turning that narrative upside down and creating a different standard of excellence in terms of showing, improving, giving you the numbers, showing you what we're doing, and then following up week to week. Every week, I show you how my oil trades are doing. I show you how my other trades are doing. And so you're able to actually keep tabs of like, okay, does he know what he's doing? Does he, every week on the health show, we have people come in with testimonials, or we're able to show you testimonials or scientific studies that you just don't get to hear about. And hopefully this becomes a standard for all programming for our people, because we need a certain standard of excellence. We need a no apology approach to results, and we need consistency. And we're going to provide that if other people don't. So we're very happy that people tune in every week. Next Monday in health results, we're probably going to go over cholesterol, and we're going to transition that broadcast to our personal sites, because health conversations is what they tend to censor the most. So just get ready. Next week, we'll probably do the first 20 minutes on Facebook and YouTube, and then we'll be transferring over to herbalresults.net, and then Know the Ledge, and also the Patreon as well. So just be ready for that, y'all. Do not get too comfortable always seeing us on YouTube and Facebook, because they are restrictive platforms that we do not own or control. And I believe in ownership and site control. And so, thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully this program has been helpful to you all and enlightening for you all, for you to start looking at these numbers, man. Start looking at these numbers. Understand that, like, the best time to invest is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. The best time to plant a fruit tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So the numbers are the numbers, y'all. I'm going to keep doing this until the wheels fall off. I'll be 100 years old, still making money this way and laughing all the way to the bank. And so just giving you all some insight as to what I'm doing. And we'll probably next week, we'll have some really good guests to talk about, what they do in terms of investing and business and what have you. It's all about being able to put a blueprint in place that you all can follow, people you can tap into. If you want to contact me about any investing questions or trading questions, contact me on herutrades.com. If you are an experienced trader, that means that you have some type of experience with Forex charts or stock options, and you can register to follow my trades on a subscription-based model on herutrades.com. We have a lot of people registered, and people are making money. And that's just what it is. And that's what we can do for the people with this free programming that we do every week. We're happy to do it, and it's something that we are required to do, because, Mama Harriet Tubman, aka the goddess Araminta, because that was her name, was really, they called her Araminta. She didn't free herself from the plantation and then just go live a good life. She came back at serious risk to herself several times to get the rest of our people out of the plantation. And that's our model. That is our avatar. That is the person that we're following in terms of her love for the people. And if she was able to do it in those types of times where they were chopping off people's body parts and she was public enemy number one, she actually was involved in the raid of a slave ship. I don't know if people know that, but she actually, they talk about John Brown and Harper's Ferry. She was actually part of that. She literally raided a slavery ship. She raided the ship. A lot of people don't know that. And one thing I wanted to correct before we close, on the health show, we talked about Harriet Tubman, and I talked about, a lot of people think that this conversation about the enslavement of our people
yep, I see it.
He died in 1826. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's put in Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman, she was born in 1822. Do you see that?
Yep.
So let me just put that here. Harriet Tubman, she was born in 1822. So Thomas Jefferson, oh no, I don't think y'all can see that. I'll share this tab. So she was born in 1822.
There you go.
Does everyone see that? Araminta Ross, 1822. Thomas Jefferson he died in 1826. So she was born before he died.
Right.
Okay, now let's do Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was born in 1911. Do y'all see that? Can you see that, Red Pill?
Yes, sir. I see it.
Ronald Reagan, 1911 was born, right?
Yes.
Harriet Tubman died in 1913.
Wow.
Okay? So Harriet Tubman was alive when Ronald Reagan was born in 1911. She was alive. She was 90-something years old when Ronald Reagan was born. But she was also alive before Thomas Jefferson died. She was born in 1822. Thomas Jefferson died in 1826. So literally this one woman lived during the life of Thomas Jefferson and the life of Ronald Reagan. And a lot of people think that this is all distant history. And this is not distant history. You know? And so I just always want to be accurate. It was not George Washington, it was Thomas Jefferson. So I just wanted to clean that up for people to see that, but also put things in perspective. This stuff that people talk about, man, like history is a current event, yo. Like we're all part of that snowball force of history. And if you don't understand things correctly, even in trading and investing, you need to understand the history of technology, the history of, like, you would have wanted to invest in automobiles in the 1920s when people were driving horse and buggies, because you would understand the history and the force of nature and how history moves and technology moves always towards greater and more efficient technology. So would you have invested in the automobile in the 1920s, or would you kept, investing in horse and buggies? It's just like today. Would you invest in automobiles, or would you invest in electric vehicles? Would you invest in slow money, or would you invest in Bitcoin? Right? What I call slow money is like Bank of America, those financial institutions. And when you start to compare Bank of America stock to the rise of Bitcoin, it's not even comparable. But that's just because that Bitcoin has a greater technology than Bank of America. And if you understand these things, you're able to capitalize off of it in a very serious way. So I just want our people to start recalibrating our minds, stop wasting our time on things that don't matter. on celebrities and all of this when you don't have a pot to piss in and you arguing about, you know, Klay Thompson when he got a $300 million bag already. It's like Klay Thompson's all right. Everyone's out there, you're arguing pro Klay Thompson against Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's sitting on $300 million. He don't care what y'all think. Like, solve your own problems before you like want to like get into other people's lives. Like, we all have problems to solve. But a lot of it is that we completely get distracted because we don't even know the way to solve our problem. Because you don't know how to solve your problem, you just attach yourself to other things. But I'm just showing you how you can solve your health issues, you can solve your wealth issues in a very step-by-step approach that works and the numbers pan out. So that's what it is. And someone wanted me to, let me just show you all HERU trades. It's just herutrades.com, y'all. It's very easy. For those of you all who are interested, you would just go to the website. Very simple. It's very, very accessible. herutrades.com. I'm about to share it right now. And you literally can register here. Again, this is for people who have some experience with trading. This is not for newbies who don't know anything about trading at all. And then the different trade portals that you can choose is you can Forex pairs, the monetary, the currencies. You can choose cryptos, metals, and indexes or indices, or you can choose stock options. We have some people who choose all three, and I just post my trades that I do in real time, and you get a push notification on your phone whenever I made a trade, and you can just copy the trade, and you can sign up for 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year. And what I'm doing is I'm going to probably take the 1 week option off, and it'll just be 1 month or 1 year for people, because sometimes I don't make a trade for a week. You know, I only trade when it makes sense and the environment and the charts look right. So sometimes I might not trade for a week. So I don't want you to pay for 1 week and I didn't do a trade, because I'm not going to force a trade just to say that I traded for this week, right? So this is what it is. It's very simple. You sign up, you'll get the notifications whenever I make a trade, and you can just copy the trade. The moment that I do the trade, I put the trade into the system, then you're able to get it, and then you're able to benefit from, you know, whatever money I'm making, you'll make the same percentage, okay? All right, so it is what it is. So, Brother Red Pill, do you have anything you want to say? What you got coming up, man, in terms of programming?
Yes,
you got
indeed.
any programming for this evening? You got any programming coming up?
Yes, we have WTF Wednesdays. That'll be coming up later on. That will be on Know the Ledge Media, ladies and gentlemen. I'll also be broadcasting through Know the Ledge TV on Facebook. And tomorrow is Third Eye Thursdays. And then we have Saturday Night Live and Sacrilegious Sundays. So it's a lot going on. A lot of we got some guests coming up. A lot of a lot of announcements, and then we have a big announcement next strong about our upcoming Clause 72 event. We got 2 new dates, so we're gonna announce that the Clause 72, and that's an acronym for Kinetic Knowledge, Legacy and Land, Autonomy and AGI, Wisdom and Wealth, Strategy and Spirituality. It's a part of the Facts Initiative. And yeah, man, we just moving. We moving and grooving, sliding and gliding, doing what we got to do.
Excellent, man. And for those of you all on my channels that are tuning in, please tune in to Know the Ledge and what Brother Red Pill is doing. I got to tell you all, like, Red Pill shows are very entertaining, y'all. Like, I actually didn't know the brother was that funny. Like, I tune in and I'll just be cracked. Like, I gotta be careful what I'm drinking. Like, if I'm drinking some water and he's talking and he's like talking about like world events and what's going on, just the way he puts it is hilarious, man. So it's high level knowledge with high level entertainment, man. The brother is definitely a natural, and if he wasn't in this conscious work, he definitely would have a great career in stand-up comedy, man. because
Yeah,
the
probably one of
brother,
the stages.
yeah, the brother shows are extremely entertaining, y'all. So definitely tune in. Before we sign out, brother Phil, of course, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you where we're at with my Forex oil trade. Would y'all like to see that before we sign out?
Yep.
Before we sign out, let's end it out on that good note, of course, with some inspo.
Okay, so here we are. Remember, we came on today and we started the show. It was at 12,000 pips, correct? And then it went
According to the record, yes,
then
sir.
it went to 14,000. Then it went to 14.5, correct?
In real time.
Yep. And so right now we are at 15.5, 15.6.
Wow.
We started the show at 12 plus 12,000 pips. We're now going towards 16,000 pips. And really, if we stayed on a little bit longer, probably the next 10 minutes is going to hit 16,000. And this is the way that people who are in this world make money while they're sleeping. I haven't touched this trade. I haven't done anything. I'm just having conversation and chopping it up with y'all for the last 2 hours. And I've made considerable money within that amount of time. Okay. And I'm just saying that, like, this is the world that people who know how to trade are living in. And they're laughing all the way to the bank. And I never wanted to be left out. And I figured out if there's people who can do this, then I should learn how to do it myself. So I taught myself, developed my own techniques. There was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in teaching myself. There were losses that I took. There was a lot of time that was spent until I developed my own technique that works for me. And as you see, it's working. Like when you see people trading Forex, you usually don't see 15,000 pips. You'll see 100 pips, 20 pips. You won't see these types of numbers. It's because of the way that I trade and the things that I've discovered. So just to let you all know that this is real, when we first started doing this program, joint program with Know the Ledge Media, my oil trade was at 700 pips, plus 700. In 4 weeks, it has grown to 15,000. And all that represents money being made. So this is just what it is, man. And, you know, I'm happy to share this with you all. And we're not going to stop doing it till, like, people actually understand that, like, your children should learn this. Your children's children should learn this. Like, my son is being taught how to do this. My wife is starting to ask questions, you know, showing her how to do this as well. Happy to show people, particularly in my circles, how I do this. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably do once a month some type of joint presentation with Red Pill on, like, how you get started on the trading for people who are completely new to this.
Let's get it.
Okay. Someone just put in, Trump just rejected Iran's offer. Iran oil about to explode. Yes, correct. Because we know that this is what's going to happen. So
The script.
just know that they're not going to come to a resolution with what's happening with the Straits of Hormuz, and the price of oil is going to keep going up, which means that I keep making more money. Unfortunately, those of you who don't have a position on oil, you're going to suffer because the system only told you how to buy gasoline and not how to buy Forex positions in oil or stock options positions in oil. And the crazy thing is that, like, how you learn how to pump gas at the gas station and pay for your gas at the gas station is actually more difficult to do that than to go to Robinhood and to buy an option in oil or to buy stock in oil. It's actually easier to buy stock in oil on Robinhood than it is to go pay for oil at a pump. It takes longer. You got to drive to the pump. You got to go put your credit card in or whatever, or go pay them at the counter. And you got to sit there for 10 minutes and pump the gas, or 15 minutes, or however long it takes to pump, 5 minutes to pump the gas. All this, and then you spent $100 maybe to fill up your SUV, right? That same $100, you could buy an oil option or an oil stock, USO or BNO. I just gave you the names, USO or BNO. That same $100, you could press buy. that same $100 that you spent to buy gasoline for your car, you could buy oil position on Robinhood for the same $100, and you're able to do it quicker. But you get a return on investment, whereas you're just going to burn the gasoline in your car. They teach you how to do that, but they're not going to teach you how to buy something that's going to make you money. And this is what we're fighting against, so that we become a whole different type of people. You know what I'm saying? So someone asked what happened to Monday's health video. Red Pill, you want to just tell them real quick?
Too hot for YouTube. It's on Patreon now. It was a banger, 3 hours and 30 minutes. Too hot for YouTube. You know, they sent out the drones and everything. You know what I'm talking about? They called up Trump. They called up Stephen Miller. They called up Pete Hegseth. And they made a play on us. But we got that on Patreon. And yeah, sign up to Patreon /Red Pillar. You'll get access to that. Family, I want to say thank you for this powerful show. Brother HERU, of course, you already know what it is. The information is getting more better. Episode after episode, you taking us further down this rabbit hole. I hope y'all are ready to get your investments in, learn this craft. We're going to teach you how to fish so you could teach others. Yeah. So with that being said, I'll let you close it out, my good brother.
All right, we're out next week, Monday. We're going to talk about cholesterol and go over the science of cholesterol and cholesterol medications and their side effects, and heart disease and like what that means, what that doesn't mean. You all will be shocked and surprised. For those of you all who were shocked and surprised when we talked about what we talked about on Monday, you're going to get more shocking information, and you'll be highly empowered. Let's put it that way. Next Monday, and then that's Health Results Mondays. And you know, people can go get what they need on herbalresults.net, whether it be products or testimonials. You can share it with your family and see how people have been healed. And then next Wednesday, we're probably going to have a guest on who's been doing some type of trading, and they can share their results as well. We may have some business owners talk about some opportunities as well. But this is all going to be functional kinetic knowledge. And so we look forward to providing this program with you. Really, we're supposed to just do an hour. We went 3 hours today because I'm having fun and we're making money at the same time. And so, you know, salute to Red Pill and your audience. Salute to my audience for tuning in. And hopefully you found this all very helpful, man. And someone's asking, can I do a show on investing in foreign countries? Absolutely. I can show you what I've done in other countries, in the Caribbean and Africa, and how I've invested in, you know, what that looks like. So yeah, I'll share that with you all, and maybe even have some guests come on as well. So stay tuned for next week. Monday, health results, and Wednesday, wealth results, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bless up to everybody. Y'all have a great, productive day and a great, productive rest of the week. All right?
Yes, indeed. Happy hump day. Bliss up to everybody. Y'all go make your next move your best move. All right? Peace.
Peace.